cool. I need to resize this stuff. But holy shit. One moment. Now. Hello. So today is literally just gonna be me ranting and raving and frothing at the mouth over a good old game called Lancer, cause a certain somebody decided, I am going to. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. A certain somebody, aka Devious, decided that to show me this here mech tabletop, and when you take a first glance at it, it genuinely does just look like a TTRPG for wargamers. Like, you just sit there, you look at it, and you're like, yes, good times for all. But it doesn't really seem like it has any roleplay potential. Oh my god, how wrong I was! So, today we're mainly going to be watching stuff on Lancer and looking over the book and all sorts of stuff. Hello, Devious. You motherfucker. I cannot say how much I appreciate you for breaking me, but how much I can't stop thinking about this fucking goddamn game. Like, it's bad. I just realized I don't have an alert box on this screen. What in the frick? Hang on. There we go. I'm just happy I could get you into a tabletop again. You seemed to really want to play, so here we are. Steve and I both did similar things at the same. Yeah, I noticed you both. And then my girlfriend, Ara, how dare you break my husband? He ain't your husband yet. Not last I checked. Anyway, he's having fun. No complaints. And it's just a gif of what's it called? An irregularity at Magic High School where it's all the girls just glaring at the hot guy. Okay, so I apologize for nothing. I wish you could, but there's nothing to apologize for. This is also of my own doing. I sat there because Devious. I mean, oh my god, look at this art. Look at this art, man. Look at this boy. Look at that boy. That's like one of the first things that got me locked in on this game. It's just the art is so fucking gorgeous, dude. Like, hang on, I need to see this. Where? Damn it! Oh well. Oh, I know. Remember, Bloom did kill 9 billion demons in Malgas. Yeah. So, oh man, where to even get started on this wonder of a game? You know what? I'm just gonna first explain what Lancer is for those who are the uninitiated, right? So, Lancer is, as I mentioned, it is a tabletop RPG that is... let me double check the name of the developers. Where is your goddamn... By Massive Press. There we go. I wanted to double check the company name, not just Miguel Lopez and Tom Parkinson, who are fucking madmen. Thank you, RJ. The Pac-Man is there because I own an arcade on the moon. Don't ask how we get customers. We're still figuring that out. But anywho, it's made by Massive Press, who are some amazing people with the lore and all the shit they have done to make this game as amazing as it is. Like, this entire page is just filled with madmen. Call me that again, RJ, and I will have you sent back to Earth. Personally, with no ship. You're just gonna have to deal with the atmosphere. Fuck you. Anyways, Lancer is a tabletop RPG. What if a Gundam, but fucking weird. Basically, it is a mecha RPG where you are what is called a Lancer. It is both the name and the title of sort of your job. Lancers in the game are... They range from common mercenaries to spec op forces in the primary military of the galaxy. So, based on what your DM wants to do and also what you guys communicate you want in the game, it could range from cowboy bot fantasy that you're just living on one of the diasporan planets, which I'll explain the name of that here in a bit. You're living on one of the diasporan planets, and it's just this big old classic western, but you got mechs. To you are literally just playing a milsim with mechs. This game, this singular book, has so much potential for stories with mecha that it is honestly kind of insane. It's partially why I am so invested in this. It's just this game has so much potential for I just realized I could do this. For stories and gameplay for anyone involved, that it is kind of insane. The only thing that would like lock it from someone is if they don't want to pilot a mech. And if you don't want to pilot a mech, what the fuck's wrong with you? I mean it's a mech. Look at them. Look at those fancy bastards. They're all so pretty. I just realized my mouse is not on screen. But look at them. Look how cool these look. And that is another amazing point. The customization they allow for in this game is so fucking good. And to get into that, I'm not going to talk about the lore of the game just yet. Just yet. I'm getting into why you would want to play the game. So, let me look here and see... Spec combat. Pilling violence and mechs. That's page 16. So, let's go to page 16 real quick. Look at that! Look at them! That is basically what you're doing. Anyways, I thought for a half second there that this was someone doing the Family Guy death pose. I don't know why, but scrolling past it made me think that. But anyways, in Lancer, you always start at license level 0, right? Now, to most people, that sounds like you're starting off with nothing. And it's like, well, why wouldn't I want to start at license level 3 or something, like in D&D or something? Well, for one, if you do that, your DM is gonna fucking hate you. Because the amount of bullshit you could immediately start with is insane. Like Devious has told me, license level 0 is not your starting point. It is your... what did he say specifically? I'm just going to say it my way because I can't remember what Devious said. But your baseline, thank you. It's not standard. It's standard, not starter. Exactly. When you start off in license level 0, you're not just a regular human. No, you are a lancer. You're a pilot of a mech that has trained for years, and the game makes you feel like that, even at license level 0. Now, do you still feel like you don't have the world in your hands? Absolutely. I can attest, and Devious as my DM in my Sunday game can attest, even at license level 0, you can get your shit rocked super easy. If you don't play smart. Which is another thing I love in this game, is that it isn't just, hey, min-max so you can just get through encounters, like sometimes I feel in Pathfinder, or, oh, you're stuck into, or, oh, you don't want to fight at all because it'll literally you'll just die, like in World of Darkness. No matter how much I love role-playing in World of Darkness, in this game, it has that odd mix of both. Hell, the game allows for such variety of choices for how you came to be a Lancer. The setting is so vast you could straight up be a farmer using a mech who got enlisted to be in a vat-grown clone trying to reclaim lost systems. Exactly! And then Devious, yes, werewolf is a whole different thing. So the thing about starting off in Lancer, just like Enderm said, / RJ said, when you start in Lancer, you're not just a guy who got into a mech. You're not Shinji. You're not Shinji at all. You're like every other character in Evangelion. Or every character in Code Geass who pilots a mech, or in the Zagen Dread Shinji. Yep. You are the pilot in every other mecha anime. Whether that mean you are a fresh out of the academy cadet who's bright-eyed in Union space, ready to jump in, or, like RJ said, you are a farm-grown boy that worked on it for the longest time, but enlisted for one reason or another. You could also do it like the backstory of my current character, where my character lives in a lived in a high-ranking family of magistrates who owned a shit ton of weapons factories and stuff. He technically lived it good, but he was third in line, which meant in that faction's ideal, he was going to be forced into their military so they can do some Helldiver shit and get more shit because he is in service. He hated being a pawn of his family's scheme, so he ran to join the base military. Stuff like that. There is so much just stuff you can do. Hell, you could do like, oh, I was in a cryopod for centuries and I woke up to see, oh dear God, what happened to my universe? Because that's another thing. follows the laws of physics with space travel, which means you could be a guy that lived on a regular planet for, oh, God knows how long. Huh, wonder where that one came from. Don't worry about it. So, all of these could impact the game in a way. Now, and after you make your backstory, you then get something called triggers, which are basically, the funny thing is that we all love, right, is right here. You see all these examples of triggers you can have, right? Whether it's showing off, get somewhere quickly, read a situation, pull rank, yada yada yada. These are all examples of triggers you can do when in a when you're in the role-playing or downtime scenario. However, you can also just make shit up. For example, I made up one called Snatch a Shiny. I still love that I named it that. But it is literally just the fact of, hey, I want to yoink this item, right? But I want to do it in a stealthy way. I want to rogue that shit. So I made up a specific trigger to do so, you know? And that is the fun thing about it. Like, all of these are very generic or open-ended, and you can make something very specific that sometimes will just actually apply, and you'll be like, oh shit, I could be the reason we get this done because I have the right trigger for the right situation. Now, that gets us into this part. The part everybody loves when you're going into Lancer. The mech. All of that was just your character, your pilot, your Lancer. Now the mechs. The mechs are the good shit. So, bro, I am so hyped to get comms done of the mechs. That would be sick. But, the thing about mechs is that all of them are modular and meant to be changed. This game will reward you for changing your strategy of what you are playing around your team. For example, when I started in this most recent game, I wanted to be a sniper. I wanted to be the backline sniper that looks down the lane and sees one big enemy that's a problem, and then take out that problem so everyone can clean up. However, I noticed that we have that in spades already. Or we just have tanks, RJ, that could take care of that without me worrying so much. And I realized that what we more needed was mobility and the ability for someone to keep people patched up and in the fight. So I immediately just changed up my entire strategy to be the healer that picks everybody up, very literally, and takes them where they need to go. It is why I now call my mech the taxi service. Because there's literally an ability in the game where everyone can just hop on and you go. It's great. But this game loves it when you change your strategy, change your mech entirely, and licenses in order to be better at what you're doing, right? You're not, oh, I picked this class, but I realized that that I'm not really for example, in D&D, when you decide to be a barbarian, you're kind of stuck as a barbarian unless you talk really heavy with your DM and make up some weird lore reason about why all of a sudden you're a druid instead of a barbarian. Then, but here's Lancer that's just like, man, I can't I can't do shit as a sniper in the backline, and everyone's just dying. Well, guess I'll be the healer then. That's honestly my favorite thing. While you're super... Basically, 99% of the time, you are filling a niche that the team needs. And it feels really good to do that as well. Because you're not just... It makes you feel way more that you're a team and not just a bunch of chuckle fucks that are trying to work together. Context, you could redo one of basically everything every time you level up in a license, so you can easily completely change up your build from early levels and heavily refine them through testing at later ones. Exactly. Every time you level up, when you realize, oh, this didn't work, or, oh, I need this differently, you can just do it. You can just fucking do it. And you're not punished for it. You're not starting over. You're not a paladin that just broke their oath because, god damn it, I needed this other ability. I need these other abilities. No. You're going to the depot, to the requisitions bay, to whatever you want to call it, and just saying, hey, I need you guys to fabricate this, this, and this. Can you guys do it? And they're 99% of the time going to say, abso-fucking-lutely. Now, getting into more of the specifics of what your mech has and can do is, your mech has certain skills. That being hull, agility, let me actually mark it, agility, systems, and engineering. I'm gonna change the song to this one. I need more chill music, but I'm also like trying to find something that's not copyrighted because YouTube, and I don't want to die. It's not literally dying, I'm just saying that for jokes. You know what? If I get hit for these, then god damn it. Each of these will apply to certain parts of your mech. For example, hull, as it sounds like, it is basically your strength stat. Or it's a strength and constitution stat. It's how much health your mech has, how hard you can punch that shit, how well you are at grabbing motherfuckers. Agility, another one that's obvious, it's just how well you're running at people, or dodging, or going through things silently, right? And then systems, this is where things get a little abstract. While it is slightly obvious with the name, it could also apply for stuff like hacking into people or trying to steal data from a terminal, or trying to figure out where specifically a signal is coming from, etc., etc. All of the internals or the data compiling of machinery, while engineering is all of the hardware, all of the shit you're throwing on there, or all the shit you want to try and pull off of something and put on something else. With each of these stats, every time you level up, you can put a point. I think you start out at LL0 with 4 points, and each level you get, you can put another point into one of these stats. A lot of the times, I like to put 2 in one, and then 2 in another, because then every time you get 2 points into something, you get a bonus into something each stat has a... This part's a little harder to explain without the level up screen. I think I'll try and find it. Nope. Okay. But hey, Gala, how's it going? Oh, actually, I can look at it right here. Every time you level up from every time you put points into these, Hull gives you health, and I think repair points. Agility gives you evasion, which is stuff people are trying to hit in order to hit you. And then it also gives you... Oh, what was the other thing it gives you? Movement speed. Thank you, Gala. Systems is... sorry. How well you'll attack. And also how much stuff you can put on your mech. And then lastly, engineering is what your heat cap will be, or how much you'll burn up before burning yourself out. And then you know, I should really just actually have CompCon on the screen. Why should... That's something I could do. Throw CompCon up here and then use that in order to show leveling up and stats and stuff. That'll make my life a lot easier. Let's just go into create a new pilot here. So you put in a name, call sign, background. And at LL0, you get 4 of these to throw in here. I'll just throw in 1 in each to make our lives a little easier. Noting that a lot of these resources are free. Yes! That is also something that is absolutely fucking amazing with Lancer, is that everything player-based is absolutely free. The only thing that needs to be paid for is stuff that DMs/game masters have to look through, right? Which, in my opinion, that makes complete sense. And also is super fucking helpful. So yeah, oh yeah, that also includes limited systems. So to explain limited systems, that is just a little thing saying how many of this thing you can use. Did you know you can change your theming on CopCon? I use MSMC, one for basically dark mode. Oh, I actually didn't know that. Also, I was wrong. It's only 2 mech skills. After you then take your mech skills, you get something called talents. Now, these are... The default version hurts my eyes. I can see that. I just kind of got used to it. These are in-combat skills. Classes are basically not a thing in Lancer, which is a pro and it's a con. It's a huge pro because you could, again, the customization in this is just mind-boggling. However, I have seen it, not only with myself, but with people I've tried to introduce into this game. It is very overwhelming at times because of how you sit there and you say, oh, so if I take levels into this license, that's what I go down, right? And then everyone says, well, yes and no. You take this license, but if you don't want everything in that license, you could just start a new one. And it's just like, what? What do you mean I'm not locked on this path? Well, you're not locked on this path, man. Well, what class am I playing? No. And the best way I can sit here and explain it to you is that also fair. It's a mindset swap. That is also super fair because in Lancer, you're not necessarily playing as a jack of all trades. Every Lancer fills a niche. And obviously you can change said niche if need be, but you are playing what you specifically want to play. Whether that be the cowboy mech that spins through 20 weapons and then loads all of them back up and everyone's terrified, or some sort of eldritch abomination that bursts into a swarm of angry, hungry bees, and when people try to run away, you just get pulled right back into the swarm and you just hear screaming as they're slowly buzzed to death. Fucking Horus. Or you just hate your DM and want to make a bunch of buildings that do but don't exist. Don't think about it. Or you just want a knot gun. We don't talk about the knot gun. Or you just want to be literally one gun. A gun so powerful that it rends the earth underneath foot. If you just want to be, oh fuck, that guy's charging up, kill him, kill him, kill him, while all your allies are protecting you, and it's like, alright, time for the world to end. That is basically what you're doing when you make a Lancer character. You're filling a niche that you want to play and enjoy. And these talents help you have stat increases or buffs to said niche. For example, right here, engineer. If you want to make your own weapons, make your own ideas of shit, this is the talent for you. Because literally out the gate, you just get a prototype weapon that you built and decided to fuck around and make it. Because why not? If you want to be a melee powerhouse, there's stuff like Executioner or Duelist that'll help you go absolutely batshit insane with it. Gunslinger for if you want to only use small arms. Hacker if you want no one to be able to see through their shit at all anymore. Heavy gunner if you want to be heavy weapons guy. All this sort of stuff is just here to let you specify the niche you want way more. And after that, we then, all this on top of the yada yada combo, you can play free Ox Mount with Hunter Lunge on top of a super heavy backed by Executioner. Devious, don't give him ideas! What the fuck is that? Just reading that hurt my head. Oh god. Now, reminder, this is all at license level 0. And then you get pilot gear, which is starting with a suit of some kind if you want to. Which could be from... Oh, this is new. I'll talk about that in a bit, but that's new. It's an energy shield of some kind. That's cool. That's new and cool. But it could be a hard suit of some kind, which means you are beefy, but you just... you either have the Carapace hard suit, which is wallflower data, or just the basic hard suit. Stealth suit or mobility. Stealth suit lets you go invisible, because that's a great time. And then you have your weapons, which could be any of these guys. What the fuck? GMS is... Oh, fuck my... I'm happy you're not playing Melee in my game, motherfucker. ACs are basically your basic, like, M4s or whatever sci-fi version you want it to be. Your basic weapons. Signatures are... Usually, they're more, tied to something explosive, energy, or some sort of heavy form of weapon, right? Let's throw those on there. And then you get some pilot gear, which could be frags, correctives, which could save a person's life, patch, which is a little heal, stims, which are, well, adrenaline. It's just adrenaline. Extra food, or an Omni Hook, which is, you know, that one's just kind of good to have sometimes. And then, lastly, at license level 0, again, we're still at 0, you get a mech. Most of the times, you will have good old Everest. You can also have these two, which are forms of Everest, but that are more specified. But 99% of the time, you'll have the classic Everest. And to tell you how much of a OG Everest is, it has no picture. That is something they have kept ever since this game was first made. There's no picture to this motherfucker. Because it is just your mech. It is just yours. In lore, they say it is because there are so many versions of the Everest that exist in this galaxy that there's no way they could put an image on there. And the Everest itself is actually a really good mech. It's like the Z95 head-on-her in Star Wars. Legit, just Swiss Army knife, the mech. Exactly. And that's also why the Everest is just really good. Because it's just the Swiss Army knife. You could legit take this mech throughout an entire campaign if you wanted to. You could just use this frame throughout an entire campaign. I haven't seen it because most of the time the other frames are... But you could. And then you get all these guns, a thermal pistol, a thermal rifle, tactical melee weapon. You could just have all of these right out the gate. And if you wanted to, you could even have something like the Cyclone Pulse Rifle, which you don't see it over my head, but it is what's called a super heavy weapon. AKA, it is so strong that you have to put it on another mount in order to use it. And just out the gate, you can have all of these weapons. You can have all these heavy weapons, all these... It doesn't excel in any one area, but being perfect average makes it supremely reliable. Decent sensors, decent health, a variety of mounts, a universally applicable core ability. It's got it all. It really does. And that is what's so beautiful about the Everest. It is the perfect starting mech because it is the reliable mech. To quote an old friend of ours, it just works. It just works. And you get all these systems, whether it be a legit flight system, a shield that makes it to where people have a hard time hitting you and you them, drones that you could throw out to just pepper people and be annoying, jump jets if you don't necessarily want to take the debuff of the flight system, or you just want to put more stuff on there. Even down to personalizations, which is probably one of my favorite things to come out of Lancer, is personalizations. Now, the reason why I love this is because it is literally the item that is like, hey, I'll take 2 HP, but DM, I kind of want the fact that I have a AI on board to help me aim better. Is it alright if I get accuracy on these kind of weapons or something? And most of the time, your DM will agree with it. Now, if you sit there and say, I want these personalizations to make it to where every shot that's not explosive to miss me. Get the fuck out of my game. Obviously, they're not that good, because again, it's just one system point. It's nothing fancy, but it's a good boost. It's a good time. And all of this you get at license level 1. Just out the gate. No, Gala. I don't know why I closed that, honestly. But with the Baylord, you could justify it as only explosive waves can hit the swarm in a way that matters. I mean, you could, but then that's when your DM says, well, yeah, if only explosives hit you in a way that matters, I'm going to say you take 3 heat every time you're out in swarm because the swarm is overcharging itself to dodge bullet fire. I need to reopen ComCon because I'm a goober. Let's see about changing the... Oh. Kind of like Galsim. Toasted bees. So, with that all being said... yeah, apparently there are. Hence why I threw in Galsim, because why not? Now, with all that being said of what your Lancer it can do, what it has, all that good stuff, what is a Lancer? Or what is this world you're going in? Well, for that, I am actually going to pass the mic over because I cannot do this shit justice. Bye, Gala. Have a good one. But I 100% could not give this world justice without having it scripted, right? So, I'm going to go to somebody who did have it scripted. we're gonna watch this in order of lore, let's say. We're gonna start off with
hi, hello, welcome to
what
Lancer,
happened to
or
humanity.
more about it, or specifically, I mean, you've seen the title. If you're wondering what Lancer is, well, I have a wonderful video right there for you to go and see. It's a very, very, very rough but quick intro to some of the general stuff in the setting. But today, in specific, we're talking about a cheery topic. Well, no, the opposite of cheery. It's the fall of humanity. Or more specific terms, just what's generally called the fall, or the end of the Anthropocene.
We're dying! Basically.
Or the Dark Age, or the mix of things. The budding humanity that began to curl in on itself like a dead spider. Now when it comes to this, and Lancer lore in general, the stuff that's from the fall and before it, and before Union, is very dodgy. Some of the earliest guaranteed known events are, or at least when it's important and pertinent to the setting, is 6,000 years before 0 BU. Or no. 0 AU? After U? 0 U. When it comes to anything before Union or before 0U, it's a bit vague. It's a time lost to history to an extent. Not quite, but you'll see. Namely because it's a Dark Age. Isn't that wonderful? It's not worse than a Dark Age. It's not just post-apocalypse. It's in fact majority apocalypse, and then post-apocalypse. And then we get on with 0U. I guess to begin with is talking about the Anthropocene, or what the fall marks the end of it.
Basically, 2,000 years from now, I hope.
Or the end of the fall marks the end of the Anthropocene, which is a geological term for the time period where humans have had a grand impact on the planet Earth. Can you see where this is going? 6,000 BU, before Union. The status of the Sol system and of humanity and of Earth. They have a few off-world colonies, namely the Moon and Mars are actually quite well populated. There's some stations out near some of the gas giants. It's not going that bad. There's massive shipyard docks out in orbit. It's relatively, at least when it comes to the space exploration front, beginning pretty well. Earth's dying, which prompts the building of the first of the 10. Apollo. Man, that lost all the drama from it. The 10 are massive, just gotta keyword that in there, generational ships.
So, for those of you that know anything, I just realized I'm blocking him. You know what? I'm gonna do something here while I'm talking. If any of you know anything about the so-called, I think it's called the, oh, I can never remember its name, but it's what a race's galactic scale is basically. We're talking about humanity being at like a 3 or a 4. For those of you that don't know, it is this theoretical state of where the Kardashev scale. Thank you. I also don't think that's how it's spelled, but also, we're not scientists. Basically, it's this big old scale that states a society is at this level, or this level, or that level. And humanity at this point is basically at a 3. We are harnessing powers of stars in order to create space travel. We are able to go from one side of the Sol system to the other consistently.
That were sent off in the deep space at sublight, because the technology for near light wasn't developed yet, or at least wasn't known. In 6,000 years BU, before Union, is when the Apollo was built, the first of the 10. All the nations were scrambling to make their own different generational ships. The Apollo was the test flight. Everything else was being built around the same time as well, but Apollo was the first finish and the first sent. And the Apollo would land on a planet called Caracas. The trade baronies. Though they're not that yet at this time, so kind of, well actually, no, we're not touching on that. They'll get their own thing, their own spotlight. Nah, this is for humanity's death. They can sit over there. Message comes back from the Apollo, proves that, oh my goodness, it was actually a successful mission. The remaining 9 are launched. And shortly after that, and by shortly it's in the case of like a century, the remnants of Earth begin to infight, and the system at large. As everything that had been going on and what Union historians had documented was the Earth was already falling apart before the Apollo was launched. Climate change death, isn't that fun? Well, it's not climate change just, well, not just climate change, but it was like geoengineering projects that went wrong, Other global conflicts, internal fighting, disease running rampant, and, well, by the time...
So, if you are going to sit there and basically make an explanation of Earth after, or Earth during the fall, or the pre-Dark Age era, it's basically Fallout with space travel. It is like Warhammer 40k, except there are no dark gods. Yet. Fucking raw.
Time Apollo and the other 9 leave, nuclear warfare. Nah, it's not good. So it's all some of the worst case scenarios of the projected climate change end, and then nuclear war put on top of that? And that's just Earth. We're not even talking about the stations and various outposts and colonies falling into disarray, which very few survived. Now, this is the actual fall.
I still hate and also love and also hate that he uses Black Ops Zombies right there, and it's actually fitting. Like the Raygun Mark III, or Mark II in his hands, running around like that. I'm like, why is that so fitting? Why in God's name is that actually fitting?
Falling of the fall. How long do you think it lasts? Oh, wait. 5,000 years. It was a 5,000-year dark age. 5,000 years. That's a long time. It was the point that Earth was stabilizing a bit, some of the forest fires going out, plants growing back, the few remaining humans becoming resilient that did actually survive, only about 100,000, or a few hundred.
This is basically the era that scientists have predicted our Earth is going to go through if we let climate change take its course. In that humanity will not either not live on it or be forced to completely change everything we know, because no matter what, the planet will survive. It'll just survive around us, without us, not with. And that's exactly what's going on here. It's just the planet essentially just re-econizes? It re-earths, basically. It's just making itself a new form of Earth.
100,000. And again, the few 100,000 were from Earth's peak, which was in the way more billions than we are right now.
Hurt
As
near
the
trillions.
human population stabilizes and then actually begins to grow, stable food crops are brought back, things can actually survive, animals, the few that remain, are actually spreading and diversifying, again, like over 5,000 year period at this point. But early humanity, or at least what it thought of itself as early humanity, the survivors, managed to move around, form tribes, take down old ancient walking machines, or worship them, or hunt them down, use them.
By the way, I would love them to make a Lancer version that is just Dark Age humanity. Because the thought of playing in a setting that is Horizon Zero Dawn mixed with Fallout actually sounds so cool to me. Like, you have the factions that are radical as fuck, the tribes, all that stuff. You have the technology that Fallout has, but then there's also those walking automatons that have just not shut down for ages. And just living around that. That sounds super cool to me.
Relics of the past scavenged for and then used against one another. Tribes, towns, kingdoms, empires. It all repeated once again.
Fuck the NCR! Okay, had to get that on my system.
That was in this period, which is such an entertaining idea of basically getting back to the Age of Sail again, but in a post-apocalypse, where you have some high-tech stuff lying around. It's an interesting image. But the Age of Sail equivalent empires, or at least my guesstimate of what level of tech they were, ended up discovering one of the massive vaults. Turns out, before the end of everything, there were secret vaults laid way underground with various bits of human tech, data, artifact storage, and just stuff to reboot civilization. Amongst those as well are early developments of near-light drives. Now, if you know the time-wise and when those vaults were closed, that meant when the generational ships were still being made and about to be sent off. someone on Earth already had near-light travel, or close to it. And they hoarded it. Now the question also goes into what other tech was hoarded away, which was actually quite a bit, but it's left outside of, there were multiple vaults, they were scavenged for, wars fought over them, ancient tech brought back to bear, and this would come into the event called the Little Wars. I think it's retroactively called the Little Wars because of the way Union developed and how long it...
By the way, another really cool idea for a game, you know, vault hunting, scavenging, trying to find what some of these secrets that pre-fall humanity had. Maybe some of them had something literally like Borderlands, where you open it up and it's just this eldritch god that starts trying to break free again, and you're like, oh god, what the fuck? Why did pre-fall humanity have this? Or something like Destiny, where you find a quote-unquote war mind that is just creating processes of war strategies that are so advanced even current humans could have never thought of that. Just really cool, fun game ideas right there.
It's been how large the conflicts have gotten to be compared to this one planet. Because that's the thing. When you start in your modern time, which is 5,000, you having planet conflicts on multiple system fronts across a galaxy, one squabbles of empire with some high-tech stuff on one world begin to look quite little. But also for political beliefs, because of what would come from the Little Wars. Because of out of all the infighting, I say infighting, but because of all the warring, fighting, ancient tech brought to bear again, the few survivors of that conflict, again, have put down their weapons and agreed to form an organization that would focus on the preservation of humanity. Because as the Vaults had proved, they were not the first. And they were going to make sure they weren't the last. And they made a union. And the calendar started again. And also what pre-fall humanity was like, we also don't know. Outside of consumerist and very, very, very industrialized. Now, some benefits of the fall, or downsides, depending on how you look at it, is most of what I just covered is all you're gonna get. Or at least in the sense of what you'll find in the base book. Because there's not much more information on pre-fall humanity. Outside of a few artifacts here or there that have been found, ancient tech or ancient structures built, not much of it left Cradle, unless there was secret stuff, or especially because the near-light drive was found from a vault, not after. And then the 5 voices, you get into stuff of what were the true technological levels of pre-fall humanity, or where was their tech aligned, because they got close to some of the tech in Lancer in modern times. The question is...
I'm going to pause it here because he's mainly going to start talking on about what you can do with it. But that is essentially where my personal fall happened, because the lore of Lancer is so fucking fascinating. It is such a interesting deep dive into humanity at a stage that is Star Trek size, right? And it's not full Star Trek, like you can't... Anyways, I'm not gonna... To basically... When Union was first formed, we're gonna go look at that. Because this is something that I've stuck on so much with Lancer. Is the lore they have made is so good. So fascinating. So enticing. That it is one of the first games that the base book itself made me want to be a part of it. Not just fucking being around the world or anything like that. It is, I want to be a part of this universe. I want to be in this universe, you know? And it is so goddamn fascinating to think about. All this insane, I don't want to say tech, because there isn't much tech to it. Well, obviously there is. You're running fucking mechas and everything. But the tech is sort of like there, but you don't really have to focus on it. So I'm gonna play then the setting basics, and then also the first contact accords, or what it came to. Because those are like the 3 lore things that I think, after you learn about, are just... That's what hooked
Some
me.
say humanity's nearing the golden age, the possibility of which are at the whims of a coin flip. Hi, hello, welcome back to Lancer, and welcome all of you. Wow.
Hi!
The recent, oh man, the intro to Lancer. Thank you.
You're welcome!
Hey, it was actually because of the flood of people from that, and only having one other video on the fall of humanity, I figured I'd have a video talking about just the state of the galaxy as it is when you play. So that's what we're talking about. The status of the galaxy. 5016 U. Humanity, colonizing part of the Orion Arm, numbers in the trillions. And let's go through a day of that, a citizen of humanity, if you would. Everything is taken care
I'm a
of.
proud citizen
At
of
least the base
Union.
necessities. Outside of that, your wants and your drives are for your own path, not decided through necessity. Housing, done. Food, done. Various other resources. You have things close to Star Trek fabricators, so if anything you need, you just can have it printed. Not literally from energy to matter, but just super advanced 3D printing.
The way I think of it is way more like your Minecraft or your just survival game crafting. Oh, hello, Basil.
What you doing?
Currently ranting about Lancer.
Oh, bet I'll just chill out and listen.
Literally, I'm just ranting so much about Lancer today because I am... Devious has broke me. Devious hath broke me.
What did him do?
I can't stop thinking about this fucking game, dude. Like,
You're just super excited for this coming week.
I can't stop thinking about Lancer, not only for our games, but it's like, I want more. I want more.
Man, like that's just me with Cypher. I fucking get it, dude. I honestly fucking get it.
Alright, so if we're all gonna be here, we might as well all be here.
I told you could be here this whole time, you bastard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
know, but I have
be
power.
here until I showed up.
Oh, fair enough.
You're my background for grinding, bro.
I'm gonna do this so you guys can see it as well and just keep on track of what I'm talking about. But to continue on with the point I was talking about, I love thinking about the fabricators in at current times with Lancer as like your survival game, crafting table, or the fabricator in what was that game where you're on an ocean planet? Subnautica, where it's like you have to take the basic materials of the object, or if it's a more advanced item like a circuit board or some such, and then it'll make it for you. But overall, you could legit just make shit. And it is fucking glorious. Since you could literally make whole ass mechs out of these bastards. Do you have to still piece it together like you're making a model kit? Yes. Yes, you do. But sometimes that's the
Debatable,
fun of
actually.
it.
That is actually a debatable point, kid.
I have heard some people say sometimes the mechs just get printed out of the whole thing. But
Yeah, depending on the quality of the printer that is used, there is very real possibility of it just spitting out a fully functional mech from the jump.
but aren't those only on core worlds? Like,
No,
oh.
no, because Horus is a thing and it likes to fuck with you.
Oh. That's right, Horace.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I love my new microwave, although it keeps saying Cascade.
It's just said that you push one button, and instead of hitting the one button, it says Cascade, and you're like, okay, hit 0 enemies. Okay, 0
As long as
Godhead.
Okay, I think you guys mean castigate, which is infinitely worse.
Yeah, I said it wrong on purpose just to be a shitter. Like
You're
the
doing
implication
terrific.
of the implication of the joke was supposed to be it says like Cascade. Like I don't remember what it said, but like it still cooked my popcorn. A little burnt though. Begins to chew on alternate dimensional popcorn.
Oh man, you got the quality shit.
I can taste my teeth.
As long as you don't taste someone else's teeth.
For some-
Shifty Eyes continues to eat popcorn.
For some reason, my popcorn tastes like numbers. Why am I all of a sudden hungry? Like really, really hungry?
Like really hungry.
Apparently, I picked a fantastic time to jump on. I gotta go help with my dad with something, so I'll see you later.
Okay,
Peace.
bye.
Yeah.
You can print mechs. They can scale up quite high. Not starship high, but quite high. When it comes to farming, automation, I mean that farming, factories, any kind of construction, everything's automated. It's fantastic. You have unlimited access to the OmniNet, a bit of communication between planets and solar systems. You have interstellar travel currently just at the edge of your solar system through a blink gate, taking you to any other heavily populated world within Union space. It's fantastic. For someone on a core world.
If you're on a core world.
Yep.
Which is the fun part. It's like, oh wow, this actually sounds fine. What's the problem? The problem is when you're not on a core world.
But over 90% of humanity lives in the diaspora. Welcome! You're likely one of the 90%, or more. Probably more. You might be wondering, what's the main difference, and why is one excluded from the other? That just goes to development and Union's little civil war about 400 years ago. But core worlds aren't actually
Fucking
located
sitcom!
near each other in space. They're located, they're referenced as core worlds based on how close they are to a blink gate. Some of which have a blink gate in their system or just at the edge of one. Advanced development, advanced automation, high Union presence, and the upholding of the 3 pillars. Those will be gone in depth in another video. But a core world is like Earth in Star Trek. You know, fabricators, everything's taken care of. Money is a foreign concept to an extent. Within Lancer, there is money, but it's just through interstellar trade. If you're just a core world citizen, again, you don't have to worry about anything unless you're going outside of core world. Money. But yes, Earth, Star
Money!
Trek, everything's great.
Money.
Why do anything else?
Money.
You got space travel, easy access to it, fabricators, the best healthcare. That's core world. Now on the diaspora side, may I present to you?
By the way, I love the like single frame he has when he says best healthcare where it shows Canada.
Yep.
Pandora. I'm debating whether it's even an exaggeration or not. It's possible. It is possible. Yeah, you even got the megacorps.
Again, I hate it how well this fits. Like, when I first watched this video, I was like, wait, fuck. Diasporan planets legit are just Borderlands at times. Like, on the worst of them. They're literally just Pandora. You just have those megacorps that are like floating overhead like, hey, you guys want to join our system? Our company? Our stuff? The Pandoran planets? Fuck you, no. I wasn't fucking asking.
Tatooine, Arrakis, Necromunda. All of these could be diasporan worlds, and probably there's a diasporan world close to each of them.
Mimic.
Class.
NHP. Now.
Active. Now, let's make this quick. Of the various planetary examples given, those are the extremes. They're kind of to form a scale so you can, like, shift in between them. The heavily built up and technologically advanced core world with gate access, and then the near-apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic diasporan world on the far end of the scale. So the average planets find themselves somewhere on one end or the other in between. In short, it doesn't matter the necessarily technological development, as in the Necromunda case, but just the implementation of the 3 pillars and interstellar ease of access. Though, Union's not leaving them out to dry. They're trying to implement the 3 pillars into various parts of the diaspora and bring all of them into the fold. There are strings attached. But before we move on to said strings and some of...
They're trying to be nice. They're trying to be good people. At least, the head of Union is. Industrialism.
Hooray, industrialism.
Oh, I just realized the pause I was on. Just the... Industrialism.
Industrialism.
Space politics? Geopolitics? Astropolitics? Astropolitics.
Let's be xenophobic! No.
We move into the third living condition for humans. So core world's great, fantastic. You already know the example of Earth from Star Trek. Diasporan, I mean that list is there. Cosmopolitan.
Places you don't want to be.
Shipborne and ship living. Because space travel is still bound mostly to relativistic travels, and shipping needs to happen all over the place.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you keep doing this because I've actually already binged all this dude's videos ever since you got me into Lancer, so have fun.
Yeah, I'm mainly doing this for stream's sake, you know? Because I've done the same, obviously. I've already been stuck in here. It's also just, I can't tell you how many times I have rewatched it, because every time I listen to it, another piece of like, oh, I could do this sort of campaign. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, fuck.
These videos really open up the idea that, like, Lancer is a lot more open for, like, ideas of what you want to do with the story. Like, there's a lot more you can do.
Honestly, I can't say it enough that Massive Press are crazy, some insane, one of them had to be corrupted by Ra. Had to be. Because the lore of this universe is so fucking good, but also not stuck in its own world so much that you feel like you can't do anything in it, because then you're not going off of what the idea of the game is.
Yeah, like the rule systems are complementary, but still separated enough to where you can put them with any setting.
Exactly. And also, it's somehow, it has the size of 40K, but also not the size of 40K. It's weird to explain that, because when you say, oh yeah, it has the size of 40K, you then think about it, it's like, well, if I do something in a 40K setting, then it doesn't matter, because it's so big.
I would make the argument that Lancer has the size of the human experience in 40K, just the human experience.
Yeah! Okay, there it is.
I feel like that's, like, a more appropriate version to say, because you have essentially, like, the same kind of very similar problems in both 40K and Lancer, but even with all of the things going on, Lancer kind of has more of the vibe of Warhammer Fantasy humans rather than 40K humans. Where, like, there are definitely 40K, like, fascist Nazi humans, but there's also the fantasy of, hey, I'm doing the best I can. Unfortunately, I have to nuke a planet to make it happen.
Yeah.
Which to me personally is more fun. Like, as fun as it is to be the bad guys in 40K, I'm definitely someone that's like, man, this gets old so fast.
It can. It absolutely can. For example, me as a Dark Angel player, Thankfully, with the lion comes back, it's softer now, but the amount of times I've heard people say, "So, have you fallen recently?" And I'm like, "Oh, god damn it."
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
I
like,
get it. We're finding the fallen. Nowadays, when they say, "Oh, have you fallen recently?" I'm like, "Yeah, but nowadays we just go cry to dad."
Yeah, like the thing with Warhammer, which like I even think like major Warhammer nuts would like agree, is that like you kind of have to enjoy Warhammer like in bite-sized pieces. Unless you're just like playing the game aspect, like that's different. But like if
Oh
you're
yeah.
trying to like interact with the lore, I just feel like me personally just get absolutely bored with the setting if I'm like only
Yes.
doing that.
Yes.
But at the same time, someone could say the same thing about say the same thing about Final Fantasy 14. And like as we're chatting, I'm literally leveling my Gunbreaker. So you know, to
Again,
each their own.
very fair. Yeah, very very fair. But the thing about Lancer is that it feels good to interact with the setting because not only will it affect the setting, right? But it also leads into like interesting develops between each of the factions because each of the factions there aren't too many of them to that it's like I literally can't include them all, but there's also enough to where you definitely feel that moment of but I want this thing, but that'll piss off Union, but I want this thing. And then a faction will come around and say, "Hey, you want to do that thing? We'll let you do that thing.
Hey, you want to do anything?
You want this pre-human vault? I could help you get there." Well, yeah, but like, wouldn't Harrison Armory get pissed because we're raiding one of their planets? And it sends ripples, and it feels so good to send those ripples and to like actually affect things. Now, obviously, that does also require your GM to keep that in mind, but you know that's just basic GMing. Is just keeping stuff like that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just sort of expected, unless you're doing obviously like a one shot or something. But that's a whole different thing. It it's crazy because it also can have such good role play moments. Like I said when I started this stream, this game definitely looks like it is a milsim or a wargaming nerds fantasy, right? That love mechas.
Mm-hmm.
It looks
And
like
in
a
some
game.
ways it is.
In some ways it is, right? But then you look at stuff like NHPs or the political pains that Union is going through to try and help these diasporan planets, but being so stretched thin that it's just a pain in the fucking ass. Someone has to be left behind, which sucks, and then leads to people like Harrison Armory doing the very dark shit they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is such good roleplay potential. It is so good to sit there and be like, I have insanely cool, fun things I can do in the gameplay aspect of this, but it's balanced. It feels like I'm playing Pathfinder and WoD at the same time, which I am obsessed with because I love WoD, right? I love World of Darkness a ton, but my god is the combat shit! Because that's not what it's built for, right? So obviously it's not going to be that, because it's not what it's built for.
I really wanted to get into World of Darkness, but like I swear getting into World of Darkness is like going into like I can't even think of a very good analogy, but it's like World of Darkness is going into a bar that's very loud and you can't help but keep hearing everyone's conversations, and every other time you turn your head someone's talking about the darkies or saying something racist about Asians. That's my experience with World of Darkness, just reading up on the World of Darkness.
Honestly, that is also something I am so excited about Lancer, because because it's a newer tabletop game, that is almost not a thing. Now, obviously,
Yeah,
there's
like-
some bits and pieces, but that's way more for like actual fun roleplay, right? Like, how do you deal?
It makes more sense for the characters in Lancer to be classist before they're racist.
Exactly. Or they're xenophobic before they're racist.
Yeah,
Glassing a planet with alien bugs that actually look really fucking cool.
Yeah, which make like, you know me, I'm not one to shy away from like some dark subject matters or difficult subject matters to play with. But man, like, all I'm trying to do is just make up a cool concept for my funny Save the World Werewolf campaign. And then the book is like, hey, white people, you're also Native Americans. And I'm like, why?
Stop it! God damn it, why? Fuck!
Why did you do this?
God damn it! Meanwhile,
It's like, the World of Darkness rules are actually pretty solid.
there really are. They really are. And so fucking good to think about their own role play aspects and stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Can we just, like, I don't know if you want to stick to Lancer, but do we just want to like talk about our TTRPG experiences?
Honestly, that's partially what this was. Plus, I've already went through most of like early game Lancer stuff. Well, of course we're fucking nerds. Do you see us? Do you see what I am currently?
And now Devious is back.
I am indeed back. What did I miss?
Everybody run!
Now we're just talking about like our overall experience with TTRPGs. We just got done saying like World of Darkness has great rules, but the setting is uncomfortably racist, even in the modern version. For some reason, they can't get away from that.
Okay.
That fucking...
I never read deep enough into have an opinion on that, but fair enough.
This is the thing that sucks, is that the biggest affront of it is the werewolf of the Apocalypse campaigns.
That's
Like,
disappointing.
yeah, because like I didn't catch it at first because I'm like, oh cool, like anyone can be of any tribe, and like someone pointed out, I read something online where someone pointed out, hey, the game basically tells white people they're Native Americans. I read through the book again, I'm like, oh no, it does!
Oh,
No!
fuck!
It's uncomfortable once someone points it out to you.
Alright.
And then my reading of older content, I'm just like, oh, this is just more overtly racist. Okay, World of Darkness just ain't for me. The rules of World of Darkness, though, slap. Very simple, very crisp, very happy with. You could take the core rules of any of the WoD games and straight up just do your own thing.
Basil,
Which-
have you ever touched on Forged in the Dark games?
I want to get into Blades of the Dark. Like, my buddy has pretty much sold me on it completely. And then apparently there's also a more combat-orientated, like, not a hack, but almost like an expansion. So,
Yeah,
like,
so-
I really want to try out Blades in the Dark. It seems like my kind
So,
of shit.
full disclosure, I have 4 Blades in the Dark games.
All right, next to Lancer, we know what Devious' favorite system is.
Oh no, I bought them mainly because they looked freaking cool, and I was
There we
getting
go.
them as physical books because I wanted physical books. This was during the phase where I was basically studying to make my own TTRPG.
And
Yes,
also-
I recall that.
And also, Devious never not has a physical book because the man will not live if he does not have a physical book of what he's playing.
I cannot focus if it's only on a PDF. I get distracted too easily.
Valid. I'm almost the opposite, where like I love like perusing through a physical book, but if I need to find a rule or find something very quickly, like a good PDF is going to be my go-to.
Oh yeah, Control F is awesome. I get to a point with a physical book at a certain proficiency that I just know where shit is, and I can find it quicker than using Control F.
I feel like I used to be that, and then I stopped playing D&D 5e, and I'm like, oh no!
Yeah, I'm slowly losing that skill because Lancer is just so online oriented. However, it's still kind of there, and I just like the feeling of having a physical book.
And as you guys have mentioned before too, Lancer is one of those games where like it doesn't lose the double T in its like what it is, but like you could
It is very
almost
much
say
virtual tabletop
you could
oriented.
you could almost call it purely a VTT RPG.
Oh no, they say that. They say that like overtly in the book.
Mhm.
Lancer is designed for online virtual tabletop play.
Which
that's-
to
That's why
be honest,
CompCon
with
is
like
so. That's why CompCon is so comprehensive.
yeah, which is why like not like the funny thing is I think that's really brilliant. Even like within the theming of the game, it is a mech. It's a mech shooty game. Of course, like it's on brand and on theme for it to be online.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that is just like a niche that was needed to be filled, and they are so smart for being the ones to jump in on it because of
Oh, the
Yeah.
best part.
because
The
of
best part is
COVID
how
and
much they lean
everything.
into it.
Oh, absolutely. But also because of COVID and everything, everyone was slowly switching over to virtual tabletops and stuff, and realizing with like Roll20 and Foundry Forge, like, wow, this is something people can just do and like have a good time with. And then here comes Lancer, like, you guys want a game for that? It's like, nah.
You
My
want to buy
money!
a sundial?
So
Dude,
glad you
okay.
did that reference.
So many. Okay, this is like this is still TTRPG related. I get like massive like alarms that go off in my head if someone like, especially when unprovoked, like starts shit talking being on a virtual tabletop. It's like the real
Ooh.
experience of a tabletop is to play in person. It's like,
Okay,
cool, you're a loser.
I'm gonna throw this on as just a thing. I believe that physical, like in-person experience is better for a tabletop. However, it's not fucking practical a lot of the time, especially with people like us who have friends all across the fucking planet.
When you're literally like me and all of my friends live at the other side of the fucking country from me.
Pretty much.
And I think like that's where like I start to get like stuck in the weeds a little bit on it, because like it's I am willing to agree with you that at the table is going to give you hands down the best experience, but not just like, oh, everyone has to be in the same space. You have to have enough room. You have to have a big enough table. You have to have enough dice, enough books. You have to have enough patience. You have to have everyone who's willing to actually pay attention.
Yeah.
Everything that sucks about running a game on VTT, ironically, I feel like is doubled, if not tripled, when in person.
Yes,
Like, everything
but
that can go wrong and everything that can go right is like tripled when in person.
okay, I'm gonna throw a yes but in there purely because it's the same with a lot of other stuff that you can do online or in person. Look at
Yeah.
war games, for instance.
Yeah.
It is such a massive hassle to carry your shit around all over the place and have an entire army of little plastic space dudes. But it's so much fun to throw dice in person.
Or sit there and
Right.
stare at the person in the eye as you're about to throw the 30 dice of all those guardsmen you're shooting at him, and that see the face of, dude, why the fuck are you playing guard? I just want to take my turn. No, fucker, it's my shooting phase.
Hold on, I get into the roll.
Yep.
Or, yeah,
It's
exactly.
that
Be the
feeling that I'm
orcs
talking
that are
about.
just like, well, I rolled a 1, time to roll again, fuck you. Or I rolled a 6, so let me re-roll all of these.
That being said, I am willing to compromise the fact that it is a more finicky experience, but then again, a lot of stuff in person is.
Mm-hmm.
No, immensely. I would make the I would say that like in a like this also goes into like what kind of a gaming experience you're wanting to have. But if you're trying to have like what the mass of the hobbyist base, I want to call it, I guess, consider to be like the standard of tabletop role playing, like the standard experience of a tabletop role playing game, I feel like the gap between how good at the table versus VTT is like a lot smaller of a gap than what you experience with a war game. Because like, even though I don't play war games, I look at how a war game's supposed to be, and I'm like, nah, like it's almost unplayable if you're not in person, because it's
It
just
also
such
doesn't
a
help the fact.
vastly different experience.
It also doesn't help the fact that most war game tabletops or just tabletop simulator itself is just kind of ass at times.
Oh my
It
God.
can be. It definitely can be. It's
You guys have,
it's
you and
rough.
so many people have tried to get me to play Tabletop Simulator, and I'm just like, no, I fucking hate this thing. It's so inconvenient.
No, genuinely, I'm not even gonna bother with that anymore because TTS it's an acquired taste. Let's put it that way. And the taste that you acquire is genuinely it's kind of mid in the grand scheme of things. But
Yeah, like that's one of those things where I would openly just say, no, fuck that. I'll bring chips and just show up at your house. This is ridiculous.
Exactly.
I'd rather get sick by your shitty little children than have to like get cancer from using virtual tabletop simulator.
You guys do not understand though how excited I would be if. Oh jeez, that was a fucking verp and a half. I'm sorry. Dear God. But how excited I would be if I could actually run a game in person with you guys, though. I would love to see Devious almost
that would
flip
be
the
fucking
table
amazing.
after his mech goes down to one
That
structure.
I actually would like. It's like that's like I think an aspect that virtual tabletops has over at the table. At the table, I honestly think you need to reserve for the people you already know you fuck with. Like if you're playing
Yes.
with new people, do not
Yeah.
don't do it in person. You're gonna fucking hate these people.
Mhm.
Basil, are you speaking from experience? Ah, yeah.
I learned that very quickly when I
literally-
went to a D&D day at my card shop.
Oh, my
That was
God.
shit.
I know Worm has a better memory than I do, but he could tell, like, because like Worm and I became friends because we met at the local nerd shop and tried playing D&D in person. And to say that we were the only two people that liked each other enough to stay friends, I think should explain how bad of a time we had.
Oh, fuck.
yeah, that's I can sympathize with that.
Yeah, like with anything, it's like it's how you use your tools and just knowing what the tools can do. But my God, like I'm never gonna tell someone, no, virtual tabletop is better. It's like, well, hold on. I could get drunk with all of these guys here, and this would be a great time. Now I
Oh
want to go to their house.
God! Literally sitting there, me and Devious have pounded through a drink or two, and we're sitting there doing the dumbest argument of how this one mechanic works. Like, motherfucker, I might be new here, but I'm the GM, and I say that your goddamn backswing cut does not go off of that one fucking blade, you bitch.
What is that like very like memorable meme where I can't remember what they were complaining about? It's like, you're gonna tell
Apparently,
me
it's
I'm
not
wrong?
that memorable.
I
Apparently,
don't
it's not
remember
as
what they
memorable
were.
as what.
Shut the fuck up, you little bastard!
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me wrong. Are you booing me? I'm right.
I am literally proving you wrong because I don't remember what the argument was, but the
And
way
it's not
the dude-
memorable.
Holy shit! Shut your mouth before I pull a trigger. Oh my God!
Do it, please, end my suffering.
Give me the legal ability to.
I don't have that capability.
Then shut the fuck up and let me speak, you little bitch. Anyway, argument, not important, but the dude started like yelling, "You're gonna look at me and tell me I'm wrong? Grow up, dude!" Like that's the kind of experience you two would have, and I would just be sitting in the corner being like, "Yeah, grow up, dude," smiling, just enjoying this. Until somehow you both wrap me into an argument enough for me to faux threaten Devious's life.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, like right now?
I'm fully aware what happened. I played into the bitch.
So I literally could think of like 2 ways that could happen. That would be so fucking funny. Literally just sit there, Devious then goes, well, you let him sit there and do his stupid tech action thing. My rule of cool should be allowed as well. His wasn't just one-shotting my goddamn BB&G. Well, fuck you.
then somebody yells skill issue, and then we all start fighting.
Motherfucker!
Literally just an immediate brawl.
Oh,
And it's not even like one of those real brawls. It's just the one where Devious has me under his. And he's like giving me a nookie, and I'm like punching him in his side, like fucking knock it off, you bastard!
I would absolutely just use my fat ass to like sit on both of you, and it's like, all right, everyone, play nice, and then you would both turn on me so quick.
So quickly.
And
that is a
go ahead, go
beautiful example of why when you are at the physical table with your actual homies and just there with all of them, that is when it's beautiful. And yeah, then there's Law in the corner with popcorn drawing yet another model because he is a batshit insane motherfucker.
I mean, as a resident Florida man, he's doing his job.
he is insane. He is doing correct.
Sorry, the way you structured that sentence just gave me a mental flashback. Give me a second.
I will say, I love that Lancer is the game that's not afraid to make really stupid names for their abilities. For example, Bonded, I am your Huckleberry.
Like, trust me, like, whenever you get something that's very fun enough, I can't think of it right now, but there are, like, some of the things that get labeled as powers in Cypher, you look and you go, what the fuck is this? And then you read it and you're like, never mind, I take it back. This was completely accurately named.
This makes 100% sense now.
Oh, like actually, I remember two specifically. One foci would rather be at home reading, and then another one was no, I was just thinking of the reading one twice. But like, I just love the idea. It's like, wait, that's a superpower in this game. It's like, just read it, you'll understand.
You'll understand. I also love it that I read the Nuclear Cavalier ability called Hear Catch, and my brain sits there and it's like, immediately I'm thinking of Rotzi, Rise of the Triad, and one of those fuckers that throw the grenade. I could just hear him in my brain. I could hear that fucker. And I'm just like, okay, let me see what the fuel rod gun does. I read it, and I'm like, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense, and I'm so pissed off about it. They knew what they were doing, and they're naming it off of, and I'm mad about it. How would this game work for someone who is relatively new to tabletop RPGs? Honestly...
So, if I may jump in here.
I'd say go ahead.
So, Lancer is incredibly crunchy, but with a massive caveat. The actual rules for, like, turn-by-turn gameplay are incredibly simple. They're very straightforward.
Yeah,
you almost cannot fuck them up. However,
don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
You're doing fine, bro.
I pissed him off yesterday. I'll tell him that.
Wait, what did you do? I don't even remember.
I kept mixing up the words heat and burn, and you got so mad at me.
No, I was just, again, like Baz, I was playing into the bit because that shit was hilarious.
Oh yeah, like there's always a little bit of rage that's actually there, but to like not actually get angry, you just do a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just go all the way over the top, insult someone's family line, you know, start a blood war, the usual stuff. But anyway,
and
the moment to moment
go-karting the next weekend. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, you're not wrong. Go-karting sounds fucking amazing. Either that or freaking mini golf. That's usually the go-tos. So Lancer's moment-to-moment gameplay is very straightforward, very intuitive. There's not much to it in the grand scheme of things. The crunch and the really deep gameplay sort of portion of it, that is the customization. Because you can build a mech that just runs at things and beats them with a stick. Cough, cough, RJ. You could also build a mech that fucks with the fabric of reality and paracausality and magics themselves into 17 different positions at once while taking their opponent apart atom by atom. The levels of complexity are massive, but you choose essentially how crunchy the game is going to be for you, which is honestly one of the reasons why I love it.
As the resident newbie of the system, agreeing with what everything that Devious said, but like to like make more like comparable, it's like starting Dungeons and Dragons where everything's pretty simple, but then you have the ability to make it Pathfinder 2nd edition. And it gets insane the shit you can do, but at the same time, it's such a slow burn to get there that you never feel like you're overwhelmed. Because, like, shortly after getting a grasp of what you guys were talking about, I bought the main books and binged the hell out of the frames, and my brain was just like, you've played enough TTRPGs to figure this out immediately. And then I read further, and I'm like, if this is my first TTRPG, I would not be that overwhelmed. I already know what my main build is going to be, and now I have weeks to figure out what I'm going to like kit bash later. It's not nearly as intimidating as like some other TTRPGs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way,
and the existence of CompCon makes it so much easier to
my
get into the game.
1,000% easier. Without CompCon, this game would be so difficult to work with.
Oh, dude, if you just had to resort to pen and paper for this game, I would have, like, something I would love
I would
to
have
talk
blamed
about
you for just
later.
dropping it. Like, no, fuck this, dude. I have too many talents.
it's-
I have
it's
too many mech abilities. Fuck this.
It's primarily why, like, every time I like bring up Cypher in certain circles, they'll be like, but GURPS, but Cortex Prime, and I'm like, both of those games are not games. It's basically the Unity engine. I want to play a game. I don't want to build one. Shut up.
By the way, Basil.
And if Lancer was purely just pen and paper, it would just feel like I'm building a system, not playing it, and it would drive me insane.
Yeah. By the way, Basil. They just released a new book with new frames.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do tell, do tell.
Oh my god.
They made
my god, look at my boy.
Balor more of a war crime.
They made what?
They made Balor more of a war crime, and Cade got a new mech.
I got a new mech.
Oh.
And it's so good.
He ran it in a combat yesterday, and that is the stupidest shit that I have ever seen that I absolutely love to watch. It was so fucking good, dude.
So, to explain the new frame for Basil here that I got, it's a alternative frame of the Lancaster. To basically explain, the Lancaster frame is the only I'm gonna say regen healer of the game. I say regen healer because Emperor does a lot of shielding, so it, like in Final Fantasy XIV, Emperor would be the shield healer, and Lancaster would be the regen healer.
Got you.
But it also has two super fun things that I abused, and it was great, called the Cable Winch system, which, as a quick action, you can hook onto somebody, and they cannot be out of 5 spaces away from you. If it's an ally, if they're willing, that you just put it on and you go. If it's an enemy, they have to succeed on a save. I took our slowest pyromech, I hooked him on and said, "We're going for a ride, buddy." And I set him straight into the battle. Because...
He was the chunkiest of chunks and was inside of the enemy backline like that. The shit was instantaneous and terrifying, and I loved it.
Because at base, it has 6 speed, and with my bonuses, I had 7 speed. I went across the map almost instantly, and it was great.
I actually
straight
kind of
up,
love the
"I
sound
believe
of
I
that.
can fly."
And this alt frame,
I can touch the sky.
can fly. So there's
Even better.
a big
Well,
obstacle in front of us.
Important difference. It can hover, which means it defaults to maintaining position even if the position is lateral. So any movement that it does can be airborne.
So there's a big old pylon in the
Okay.
middle of the map, right? Keeping the back line all safe and stuff. Until I flew over it. I just sat there, flew to it, went up, and then backed down and dove right at them. Dragging the pyro with me all the way.
Insert pyro TF2 screaming noises.
And
Not bad, actually.
Oh, thank you.
And another thing it has, which is very fun, is it has a different core ability, which think of it like, for Goma's sake, it's like your special ability, your one-time use for most
It's like your
mechs.
Mm-hmm.
But it has the ability called Omni-Spectrum Sensor Burst. Scan all hostiles within a burst 4, so like a 15, 20-foot area around you, if we're going D&D terms. And all of them may be locked on when they are scanned that way. So 1, I know almost everything about them already. And 2, I then tell them all, you have a +1 accuracy on you, or a extra d6 to trying to hit you.
The AoE auto lock on with that much mobility is fucking hilarious.
It's
That-
fucking funny.
You know what it sounds like? It almost sounds like Iron Man's missiles in Rivals when you fly around.
Honestly, not that bad.
I mean, it's not the worst comparison.
And
Like,
then,
if instead of like it just being a barrage, it's more like, also auto-targeting, fuck you.
get fucked. But then, it has a passive ability, or a frame trait as it's called, that when I help an ally out, I can then use my mech as a relay for anything tech related they do. I looked at our hacker and said, I'm your relay now, and then flew back into the enemy line.
Hey, Miles, can you turn on your hotspot really quick?
Yep, I got you, bro.
So- This is extra scary because our hacker, Ren, is also running a hybrid melee berserker frame.
Oh.
So his sensor range is not amazing. Yeah, he's running the Lycan. So his sensor range is not amazing, but if he hooks up to Cade's sensor range, all of a sudden he's covering a solid 15
Nope, not 15.
alongside his own area.
Well, 15
Yeah,
plus 8, because he goes off of... Well, wait, no, it is just mine, so it would be 15. Sorry, I thought you added them both.
I know my math, but thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's extra scary because that synergy is the type of stuff that I absolutely freaking adore about this game. It just gives no fucks whatsoever if you want to completely break everything and just be insane.
Now, here's a question I am actually curious about. If I were ever to try to get into running this, like, how... And, like, you do your best to, like, make this comparison, but, like, how comparable of a headache can it be to try to plan combat encounters and stuff in this game compared to Pathfinder or 5e?
Honestly, it's not too bad because, Kate, if you could pop out to Lancer's homepage, go to the compendium, and then check out the NPC stuff. The NPCs have a number of templates, frames, and templates, classes, and other little bits that you can sort of mix and match, and then there's tiers to it. So as your Lancers, your players get up to, I think license level 5 is when they go up to tier 2, and then license level 10 is when they go up to tier 3. I could be wrong on that. But there's a lot of like knobs and dials that you can adjust to dial it into what your players are doing, and there's a shitload of abilities. It's kind of the same thing. Like, actually running it is not terribly difficult once you get the rules down, but there's so many different tools that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay.
Kate, you could probably tell me all about the unit variety, and I have used maybe 20% of the units in the core book by itself.
Yeah, he
It's
has...
not counting any of the extras.
He has I've been in a game with Devious twice. Was there a third one? No, there was a third one planned, but we never did it. But
Yeah.
I played with Devious
Makes
twice, and let's just say there's a reason that I am now fucking
I'm
terrified.
traumatized.
I am traumatized by this fucking NPC enemy called the Spectre.
I'm
hate
not
this
sorry.
thing.
I'm not sorry. I'm
He
sorry
has-
that I'm not sorry.
He has one turned me twice in 2 separate games with this piece of shit.
Okay,
love
I
it,
didn't
but
one
I
turn
hate
you.
it.
I didn't one turn you. You had a couple of turns to act in the last one.
Sure, buddy, when I didn't even know it was there until it first stabbed me. And then I couldn't get away. Because I was in threat. I didn't have any melee weapons. Except
There
for
are
my
options to
pistols.
retreat from threat, my guy.
Yeah!
Look,
Unless I wanna-
once again, just for the meme, I'm just gonna say skill issue.
But yeah, this thing is... It's very squishy, but it is a fucking powerhouse with the damage it can do. And it also hides a ton. It's like a rogue in D&D, but you're fighting it, and it's a bad time.
Yeah, the scary thing with that one is it just kind of is always invisible. It can hide as a quick action. And on top of all of that, it has optionals that give it a bonus against enemies that are isolated.
Which sucked
Translation.
for me as the sniper, because I was nowhere near anyone else and couldn't get to anyone else.
I mean, you could have, but you chose to do damage.
Because I thought I could kill it, but then I never rolled right and
You
only did
thought
reliable
wrong.
damage, man.
You thought wrong.
But yeah, the overall, like, you could just have so many like, if I wanted to for our game bezel, I could take away from the book and just throw what I think is best for you guys out. I'm gonna stick with what the book says for now until I see how well or how rough you guys do to gauge it, you know? But like Devious noticed, and honestly, I think that's why he did this last session. He's like, these guys are like crafting a lot of good mechs now. I'm gonna make sure I.
Alright, it's time to make sure that they suffer a little
Because
bit.
he literally made it the rogues gallery of everyone that gave us a hard ass time, and we deleted.
There needs to be
Go
a
ahead.
little bit of context here. So, I started this game with Rin, our buddy Gala, and RJ. Cade was not involved at first, but after just the first session, the first week, you managed to get your Sundays free and wanted to jump in. The first session that we had, okay, I ran it over with my party before I did this, but a little background on me. I'm a wargamer. Y'all know this. I also have the longest win streak of any of several friend groups. And people know me for being so hyper aggressive that I legit do morale damage.
Hi.
Yeah. So the reason I mentioned that is RJ was very insistent that I not pull any punches. He wanted a challenge because all of his TTRPG experience has been just GMs letting him walk all over the enemy. And
You
everybody
don't
else
say
seemed,
that to Devious.
everybody else seemed kind of
No.
on board with it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to deliberately not pull my punches. It's Solstice Rain that I was running, so it's a pre-made everything. So it should be fun. It should be balanced out. As long as my players know their mechs and do shit right and actually use tactics, they'll be fine. So what is the first thing that everyone fucking does during session 1? They shoot at the 3 armor bastion for 6 fucking turns.
Oh no.
They don't even kill it before Cade gets there. So, session 1 was very frustrating on everyone's side because they're not using their mechs to the level that they probably should be. I know I'm being kind of an asshole saying this, but come on.
I mean,
And,
if you're told, hey, war game, the Seni war game, and people aren't doing like the equivalent of like rotation practice, it's
Yeah,
are you being an asshole or are you just being true?
So I was essentially told, and I told everyone involved, they were aware. It's like, hey, I am going to be actually using tactics. I'm not going to be pulling punches. If you guys have a weak spot that I recognize, I'm going to hammer it like I usually do in war games. So be on your game, actually, like, know your character sheet. That was one thing that I really hammered on, was know your damn character sheet.
And that's the one thing I'm happy about being a TTRPG player. I research the setting, the game, and what my character will do. Basil knows this, Devious knows this.
Cade went absolutely nutty, man.
Oh, I
And
believe it.
I'm still genuinely impressed.
I might be bad at making backstories, but I am damn good at making a character.
He says that, and yet the last Pathfinder game I ran with him, he was literally everyone's fan. He was literally the fan favorite.
Because
Yeah.
I had that character concept in my brain ever since, when was it?
Okay,
It was
but
like-
also counter argument though, you always say something like that, and it's just like, Miles, you fucking beautiful bitch.
Like, bro,
Every
shut the fuck up. You're
character-
adorable.
Every character you make is like I still desperately want to get your changeling character in another game because he was just that charming, and I genuinely love what you did with his character.
I didn't have a backstory for him, though, until, like, session 6. That's what I
No?
mean.
So, like, with that said, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, Basil's TRPG hot take, backstories are only as necessary as you need them to be. They're not that integral when you're starting out. Like, if you
Yeah.
know how your character is supposed to act the first couple of sessions, that's all you need.
Just stop gassing me up. I don't need this. Shut up.
No, it's okay. We'll bully you and make you feel like shit later. It's a balancing act.
Oh,
no,
God, the
trust me,
Put
once
down
you-
tactics. No.
No, Cade, seriously, once Winter Scar starts, you're not going to be getting much love from me. So, suck it up now.
Oh no.
The pain.
Oh no.
It's also worth noting that my only real experience with this is Winter Scar, but the pre-made adventure paths or modules for Lancer have been really on the money. Like, Solstice Reign was so on the money.
As a player, I'm saying that shit was fun as fuck. I felt so
Yeah.
good. The only, like, critique I had for it, and this is mainly, like...
No, this is 100% my issue. What you're
Yeah,
about to say.
okay, cool. I'm allowed to. But the only
Yeah, no.
problem was that with that session, there wasn't enough roleplay. Like, I wanted to experience our characters, but also... God damn, it wasn't fun to steal money from a random guy and then get smoked because my NCO caught me.
I feel like that's kind of like one of the more fun but frustrating things about getting into tabletops, especially if you're running them, is that like over time you'll figure out like what you're great at, and what you're not great at is something that it like you can teach yourself to be good at it, but then like if the game system itself is not helping you, man,
Yeah.
you feel like dog shit.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff like that. Thankfully, I haven't seen much in Lancer. At least I
No,
don't think I have.
Lancer. The thing that I'm noticing about Lancer is that like I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, so I hope it comes off.
Let's just say I'm excited to really fuck with you with your NHC by the
Oh
by
my
the way.
god, I'm so in love.
You need to send me
yeah,
their
so
personality type so I know how to play them. Just so you know.
And oh, okay, I'll consider that. I've been thinking about it on and off lately.
'Cause-
So for anyone who doesn't know, one of my big like holdovers of why I didn't like immediately, well, two of my big holdovers. I'm not the biggest sci-fi guy. I'm much more of a fantasy nerd. But
Surprising that we're friends, honestly.
well,
You know what they
fantasy
say,
and
opposites
sci-fi
attract.
overlap. science and fantasy overlap quite a bit more than people like to admit. Like, if Star Wars was good, is the kind of science fantasy I like.
I miss Legends. Anyway.
I will still laugh so hard at an umbrella lightsaber. That was so weird, but also
That was so
oddly cool.
fucking stupid.
It was so dumb. sorry.
Oop, I have to get my companion. Oh no, someone else is here with there. Cool. But like, so like, I do like mechs. Mechs are like one of the few like sci-fi-y things I super enjoy. So that hurdle was relatively crossed, but then like, if I can be real with like a majority of Lancer players, you guys don't do your game service like as a whole. Like, everyone makes this game sound like it's just a war game, and me being a thespian, I really need my roleplay. And
there is a reason for that.
well, that's because like the big chunk or the big thing to praise about Lancer is its rule set, which like once you start chomping into it, it's delicious.
Oh, yeah. But the vast majority of the rules and honestly, the majority of the book is dedicated to fighting, which is why we're like that. Because there's a lot of people who want really deep, engaging role-play mechanics, and Lancer just doesn't have that. However, it is serviceable, and the lore.
Oh, when you guys and this is the thing that finally broke me, chat. When they started introducing me to the lore, and then I was like, oh wow, I'm really digging like the narrative that can be written about like being friends with your AI before it turns on you. Like, I literally remember asking something along the lines of, "Hey, can I play a pilot who becomes like synced in with their AI to where like they don't oh now I do forget the word. Castigate?
Cascade.
No, that's incorrect.
No, it's Cascade.
No, it's Cascade.
It is Cascade?
Castigate is the one word you want to explode.
Oh, I got you. But yeah, like I was saying, like, oh, I really like this. Because, like, man, the AIs kind of have it rough, but at the same time, like, if they're just gonna turn into raw, it's not gonna be good for anyone, including them. And then when I was like, hey, can I, like, explore this? You guys were like, you might want to look at this.
Here you go, buddy. So, also, I usually end up defaulting to playing a spellcaster in most RPGs, so are there any spellcasting or support style options?
Baby!
There's
actually.
a fair amount. So, first off,
My
Gorgon,
pedigree chum to introduce you to Horus.
Horus, first off. Second of all, Gorgon is literally just don't touch my friends, you goddamn piece of shit. It's literally all about, oh, you
Don't
moved
speak
close
to my
to
son
my
ever
friend.
again.
You moved close to my
Picks up
friends.
the other men.
I shoot at you now. Goblin is all about just fucking with people, in that you will take over their mechs, you will spawn things that their mechs say is an actual thing, but it's not a thing. But they're not allowed to touch it like it's not a thing.
Oh, just for terminology's sake, Goma, if you want to do spellcasty type stuff, you're probably going to be doing tech attacks and hacking.
Yes.
That's why we're explaining it like this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Black Witch is also an amazing support in that it literally just deflects bullets. It just sees a bullet coming at you or someone next to you, and you just slap that shit away.
Get that shit out of here.
I love how the dichotomy between Black Witch and White Witch is one of them is like, I'm going to use magnetics to move the bullets away from me. And the other one is, why don't we just use ferrofluid to eat the bullets?
To numb the bullets.
Yeah. Like, those bullets are part of my armor now, by the way. No real benefit to it. It's just, you can't get through the ferrofluid. Therefore, they become the ferrofluid.
Oh, I kind of love the sound of that.
Now, White Witch is one of my favorites to pair with a melee frame, especially if you dig into Baylor for the Swarm Body. Because you could just lock people down in multiple different ways and make them sit there while the Balor's swarm body eats them alive.
Now, if you want to be something that is almost full spellcaster, let me introduce you to Lich.
We don't talk about the Lich.
We don't talk about the Lich.
But let's talk about the Lich.
But let's talk about the Lich. Because when you pick Lich, you then become a time-traveling paradox that the Grandpa paradox is just what Lich is. It dies, and then it comes back because it goes back to a point in time when it didn't die. But it still goes to where it did die. But it didn't die, though.
Oh my god, I know the perfect way to explain how this mech works. It's King Crimson.
Honestly, yeah. A lot of the time, it's just King Crimson.
It's the best parts of King Crimson without any of the drawbacks of King Crimson.
Can you take a hit? Fuck no. You are weak as hell. But that's not the point. The point is that you're not dying.
You're made of paper mache, but good luck anyone actually killing you.
They can't kill what they cannot touch.
And
they cannot kill what they can't stop from time traveling.
the last thing it has is the Didymos, there we go, Didymos class NHP, which you pick a person or a thing and you split them in time. There's two of them that exist at the same time now. Is that allowed, paradoxically? No, you don't give a fuck. There's two of them there, right? And if an enemy shoots at one of them, automatically, if they go through the health or all of the things, right, that this copy has, the person will then just immediately pop back into the other one. And they will have taken no damage. And that is like giving your friend another health bar, basically. It is... Ooh. So Rivals Loki. Basically, yeah. I mean, two of these guys have that. Goblin and Lich can do that Rivals Loki shit.
Can I talk about my mech, the one I'm going to open up the game with? Because I really like it now that I've read more into it.
Go ahead and talk about your boy Raleigh.
All right, so Chad, do you like cowboys? Do you like gunslingers? Are you upset that besides like maybe a small handful of more narrative-focused TRPGs, being a gunslinger is kind of impossible because the world is raw and it won't let you have guns in fantasy? Ignore all that, because now you've got a gun that is a cowboy, that is also a robot. That plot twist is also a gun.
That is also a gun. Also,
what do I... Go ahead.
Goma, you said Lich kind of seems like the mech that says doesn't make sense. That's just Horus. That is literally all of Horus.
That's just Horus. That's legit just Horus.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
By the way...
No?
Eldritch
We're
Horus
going to do it anyways.
By the way, Basil, we... I noticed something, and we kind of collectively figured it out after I pointed it out. Raleigh can auto-reload anything?
Uh-huh, that's correct.
Including super heavies.
Yep.
Uh-huh, that's correct.
So that Cyclone Pulse Cannon that everyone loves that can only fire once every turn if you use your entire turn to reload it. Yeah, you can just do other shit now.
Excellent. You've already understood half of my plan.
Yeah, Devious, we talked about that already. And he's
Yeah. I know.
So
I'm aware. I just wanted chat to know.
So here's the build that I'm going for, chat. Here's the big thing about Raleigh.
This ought to be fun.
Raleigh is close to medium range combatant with a revolver, and their whole lore thing is that they're very versatile, but like they're a lot like your favorite pot roast. It's so versatile, pot roast, gumbo, etc. It's so versatile that like it can be whatever you want. But, like, snobs wanted it to be one particular thing and didn't see the magic of it. So you told them to go fuck off because you have the ability to jump in, fire off one big gun or both of your small guns, do a fuck ton of damage because fuck you, Raleigh gets bonus damage by dual-wielding Glocks. Then you run away. Then on your next turn, you do something. Just don't attack. Don't like fuck with the enemy. Essentially, do you want to help your buddy be less constipated and make it easier for them to reload? Good. Do you want to help somebody clean their glasses so that they can aim better? Good. Do you want to just swear at the enemy and make them absolutely tilted? Good. Doing any of these things reloads all of your weapons. I don't think you heard me. I didn't just say reloads a weapon. It reloads all of your weapons. I don't care it doesn't make sense. The sheer swagger of Raleigh lets you reload your guns, including the revolver that's in your chest, that if you fire all 6 shots, which is the total you can have, at once, it's your head cannon. And in your head cannon, they die! Raleigh is a beautiful whore that can be... Raleigh is the ditto of the Lancer universe. You literally benefit from being whatever the fuck everyone else needs.
Okay, I'm gonna argue that. I'm gonna argue that purely on understanding that there are several mechs like that.
Okay, fair. Raleigh is the less terrifyingly eldritch of the mechs that allow you to be the ditto of the universe.
The less
Okay, yeah,
terrifying
check
part
that.
is the most important, because I was like, well, Blackbeard can be that mech if you want it to be, and then you look at what Blackbeard does, and it's like, yeah, I guess it's not that terrifying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think I am gonna end up doing a kit bash where I kit bash Raleigh and Blackbeard.
Fuck!
Because the way that those two work is, that Raleigh's at a distance. They can't fight us. They need to reload. It's like, hey, are you guys cool if I just go in and start, like, just doing a porno on their face? What does that mean? Proceeds
what do you
to
mean by
attack
that?
on proceeds to attack on Titan, tether them, and now not safe for work things are happening to the other guy's mech because
See,
you have a
that's-
chain axe.
That's why I said I like combining it with the White Witch, because then you get the ferrofluid tentacle monster involved.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yes.
Yes, but I need to build up to that slowly. I like to be edged.
And this,
Okay,
this,
Hey, whatever
is,
floats your boat, bro.
this is the part of Lancer that we
sexual
all...
innuendos aside, what I actually mean about Raleigh is that Raleigh's entire build, it practically is screaming at you, make me a support DPS. Let me do everything that a gunbreaker in Final Fantasy does. And then also I can pat people on the back and heal them. Let me put down ammo and or put down a shield, and then be allowed to just go guns akimbo, because fuck you, I'm the Raleigh.
Honestly, seeing your Raleigh with, like, either a Saladin or, what one am I thinking of? Kutuzov frame Napoleon would actually be sick as hell.
Oh, I could see that. I'm very much looking forward to playing with the Raleigh frame, because it's just, there's very few things that I can point at and just go, this hole was made for me. That's the Raleigh.
And I'm
for me,
very
100%.
I'm very happy I got to pull you with that. You were sitting there and you were like, man, I don't know what mech I would want to be. And I literally just showed him the image of Raleigh, and I'm like, this is the mech you want to be. And he's like, yep, there it is.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
telling me,
no,
it was kind of like
understandable.
it was kind of like that time I was telling you about OPR, and then it was like, oh yeah, they got Ratman clans in space, and I just hear your entire everything perk up.
Yep. Yep. I just heard that and I was like, what the fuck did you just say? And you're like, oh, wait, no, I didn't say anything.
So-
Then all of a
No,
sudden,
because I had a whole oh shit moment, because like, oh fuck, I didn't mean to play dirty like this. Oh well, guess we're here now.
and
What's
then
OPR?
1-page rules. It's Warhammer without all the bullshit.
without all the bullshit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys introduced me to that. I actually, God, I'm into too many things. I have too many hobbies.
I know, right? Oh, by the way, Basil, don't let me forget to tell you about the Forge in the Dark games that I have, because I think you're gonna get a new obsession if I do.
I'm all up down for it because at this point, I'm very happy that so many different TRPGs are just coming into my life. Like, the only reason I'm not putting together a Tales of the Valiant group is because as much as I like Tales of the Valiant, I need to play things that don't look like 5e. I gotta do something different.
Feel that.
But I do really like what Tales of the Valiant is doing. Like, a lot of people are vocal because like a lot of the classes like Monk and Rogue had very little changes in Tales of the Valiant, and then makes you go, oh wait, so they suck? It's like, no, because the rest of the actual core rules allow for Monk to actually be good, even though they're only doing 1d4 damage with an offhand. And even then, there's a cheeky little way to say, actually, I do 1d6 because fuck you. Also, my monk weapon is a beer bottle.
That's fun.
Man, I didn't know you could play Jackie Chan.
Yeah, dude, like, something I have noticed, and this is getting away from Lancer, and I'm curious if you guys have experienced this as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull off of the duty in 14. I just got Gunbreaker to level 100, and it feels fucking great. So glad I made this happen. But something I have noticed when it comes to the TTRPG hobby as a whole is tribalism is killing or is like strangling the hobby, and it's fucking everywhere. Tribalism is so rampant in the tabletop RPG space, and I'm only starting to fully wake up to it. Like, holy shit.
It's fucking weird, isn't it?
Baz, this is not a shot at you and your reluctance on Lancer.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working with an IRL group right now, and I'm trying to get them to play something besides D&D, but it's what they know. Mm-hmm. So it's what everyone wants to do, and getting them to like go through the effort of learning a new game, even if it would be like absolutely paltry amount of effort compared to what it is to learn 5e.
Yeah.
It's like 40k. It's so ingrained in like the public mindset that it's kind of hard to get people away from it, because like, you know, it's just an indie game. No one's going to want to play it besides this one group, and sadly a lot of the times it's actually true.
Honestly,
but you know what? Go ahead, Miles.
Honestly, that is why I loved that I, hung out with you guys enough, because you guys kind of very quickly broke that out of me. After my time playing D&D with Baz and they who shall not be named, I was very much like, that was what I was into. That was my mindset. And then Basil was like, hey, do you want to come play Pathfinder with me? And at first, right, I was like, oh man, I don't know. I don't really want to learn a whole new system. And then I played it, right? I actually caved and I played it and I was like, holy shit, this new system is cool. Oh, is there any other systems that are cool? And then I got into WoD, and then got into this or that, and then I got into Lancer, and now I'm stuck.
Wait, what's WoD? What's WoD?
World of Darkness.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's interesting is going back to what Devious was saying, I feel like 20 or so years ago, that is a fair, reality of the situation that, like, oh yeah, like if it's an indie TTRPG, it's going to be super minor and it's not really going to be that successful. But ever since, ironically, when 5th edition D&D first came out, I feel like the indie scene became way more able. Like, you're not making the money that Wizards of the Coast is making, because they're very good at if Wizards is good at nothing, which is to say they aren't good at anything, they know how to market the shit out of their game, and Dungeons and Dragons historically is the game. It's the legacy. But we live in a time where success is very relative when it comes to the tabletop space. Cypher, Pathfinder, Lancer, World of Darkness, all these different games have more continued additions, continued new books, and continued new stuff that comes out. Yes, you're probably gonna have to still deal with the reality of like Dungeons and Dragons, but like ever since Wizards has been starting to lose their grip on people because they're just an awful, awful fucking company, like
Yep.
the indie scene has just been able to take the smallest piece of the pie and thrive. Like they're
The funny
just able
thing,
to live.
the funniest thing about this to me, because I've been kind of trying to angle away from D&D for a while now. I'm not saying that I liked it before it was cool. I'm just saying I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so
Yeah.
I was always trying to either hack D&D to do sci-fi shit, or I was looking for games that were similar enough that I could divert and still get my sci-fi fix. Um, what's really amazing to me with that is the indie scene has always been there. It's just people are discovering it now, and it's such a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And
And it,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, you go ahead.
I feel like a big chunk of that is not just that like Wizards just dropped the ball in their house made of glass of several
Cough, cough,
stories.
OGL.
Yeah. We don't need to get into
We
it.
don't
but
even need to at this point.
Oh, that's
I know,
just
I know. That was just the
Um,
start where most people finally started to give up.
Hey, babe. What up? You touched me.
Basically grabbing his point.
Maybe.
Like,
Yeah,
after
we're-
that whole scenario and them just continuously fucking up more and more, it just led to people be like, is there anything else out there? And everyone in the indie space with like Savage Worlds and shit, and like, we've been here. You want,
Yeah, it's
you
like
want
there's
some?
there's systems that are similar enough to D&D that people can jump over, and it's just like tailored more for their playstyle. Like Shadow Dark is way more streamlined, and it's just frankly I think Shadow Dark is just better at a certain point.
I
It's
haven't
not
heard of
as
Shadow
deep,
Dark
but
before.
basically D&D, but OGLs or not OGL, OSR style.
Oh, okay.
The default, like the basic stuff for it is free. I'd recommend giving it a look if you're interested.
Not
But
again, not again, not again.
yeah, I know. But like, there's similar stuff like that. Like, I'm going completely blank on them, but Shadow Dark, the Black Hack. There's another one. There's stuff like Forbidden Wilds Forbidden Lands. My apologies. But then there's stuff that's completely off the fucking wall that gives you really specific, tailored experiences based on usually different IPs.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, Fabula Ultima, if you just want to play Final Fantasy. Suede is my favorite game outside of Lancer because it just
I have
does
been reading
everything.
I've been reading Suede a lot, and I can honestly say that Suede is likely gonna be my second favorite game, or like my favorite like side by side with Cypher, because they both aim to do similar things but focus more on one over the other. I think they're very good complementary systems. And so I'm like,
So-
I love both of these games so much.
So, hold on. I'm going to stick on that point for a second. What would you say that Suede and Cypher do better than the other? Because I've played Cypher and I'm not really a fan, but I do think that I haven't really given it a solid chance. Meanwhile, I fucking adore Suede.
So Suede and Cypher both try to make the narrative portion of RPGs more game. They try to actually like implement like you, the player, get to affect the story other than just your dice rolls. Like you can say, "Hey GM, this is a part of the story now," and the GM has to shrug and say, "Okay." Suede does that a little bit less and focuses more on a medium crunch system that has openness to still be able to let a player interpret like whatever they want to do. All that matters is that you're sticking with the particular skills and logic of whatever setting you're in. The thing that I think Cypher does better, because it's aiming to do it where Suede is not bothering to, because that's not the game Suede is trying to be, is Cypher is trying to be a much better version of Fate. which I think it excels
Okay.
at.
I see that. Now that you say that, I get the vision.
Yeah, like the Cypher system has a foundation for players to I don't mean to upset Fate players. I like that Fate exists because it's one of those games that I will go back to read, and it has helped me be more open to other systems. I would never want to try running Fate ever again. It's so not GM friendly as much as it claims to be. You can't say you're a
Yeah.
GM friendly system when you don't give me anything to steal.
So I'm gonna agree and adjust the view on that point a little bit. I played Fate, and I've attempted to run Fate. The book for Fate is it's honestly terrible. Like the way they have it laid out, it is so bad compared
Mhm.
to other games. Like it took me reading through it a few times, and what's his name? The I forget his channel name. It's Baron Derop. He does YouTube videos on this stuff all the time. He did a pretty good job of explaining my points of view on this, which is essentially Fate is a solid system hidden by the worst formatting that you will find in a TTRPG book. And it's
See,
just like the way it reads and how loosey goosey it kind of plays is it's rough, especially coming from something like 5e or Suede or just Lancer, especially any kind of system that has like a hard set of rules. You have to fill in the gaps a lot.
That
yeah,
honestly,
and that's the problem I personally have with Fate. I know that this game rightfully is someone's favorite because they can work with the system, but
Yeah,
because Fate is so like I have found I am able to play and run my best games when the game says, "Hey, here's a list of things to reference." And I'm like, "Ah, good examples. Let me go ahead and steal this monster stat block and then fuck with it."
yeah. That's one of the big things for me as well, because I'm very much a I have to see it in action to be able to utilize it properly.
Which is also why I hypothesized that Cypher didn't click. I'm not even still saying that, like, if I ran a game of Cypher for you, that you would fall in love with it. But I can almost guarantee that you would have a much better appreciation for Cypher if I was running it, because I fucking get this system. I've been talking with people, I've been reading the book. One of the tricky bitchy thing about Cypher is that it's so different, and it's asking you to approach its gameplay so differently than any other TTRPG while still having a foundation that makes you think it's an like it's a OGR. Like it makes you briefly trick yourself into thinking, "Oh, this is like D&D." And then you get to tell the GM to fuck off. Now there's a dragon, and that's rules is written.
Yeah, and I think honestly, my issue with Cypher at first was I just didn't give it the benefit of the doubt with the right mindset that one should take going into it.
And that's a completely fair issue I have found with people, is like even people who like I've talked with who are coming around to the system, they're like, "Oh, I just really wasn't approaching it." Because like you can still like comprehend Cypher and just say, "Oh, it's not for me." I think the tabletop game that I feel that way about actually is Monster of the Week. Like I get Monster of the Week, but I don't get Monster of the Week, if you follow my
I
drift.
I haven't played it, but I've heard good and bad things about it.
It's good because it's powered by the apocalypse, which I think is Fate's better older cousin or younger cousin, whichever. But
Hold on.
it's not crunchy enough for me. Like I don't want
Yeah.
every game to be Pathfinder, but I need that strong foundation. That's why Lancer is like, and what I was saying earlier about Lancer is that like the foundation for Lancer is very simple, which means that you can build upon it and make it as stupid as possible. And I think those are the best games. And Cypher does that very similarly, but again, to compare Suede and Cypher, Suede is a much more by the... Hi. Okay.
Also, Goma, yes, Baylor is very interesting. It is very wonderful. It is a treat.
So-
Suede is more by the books, straightforward, and like playing a role-playing game as you know it. Cypher has that foundation, but then also asks you to be a writer. It
Yeah,
has rules for how to be a writer, but like if that's just not your dime, like if that's not your thing, like man, I respect it. I get it.
I think that like that specific explanation is why I didn't really jive with Cypher in the first place. Because I love writing, obviously. Like I'm trying to write a fucking novel right now for crying out loud. But I didn't go into it thinking in the mindset of like writing a story. I went in thinking in the mindset of playing a game.
Yeah, and that's where I think everyone kind of gets caught up because Cypher makes writing the story the game, and like when you say that, some people be like, "Well, yeah, doesn't D&D do this?" Like, no.
No.
That's not what this means at all.
I'm about to
but
fight everybody if someone says that in my presence.
But like, but that's also why I think Suede and Cypher for me are like two very complementary systems to get into at the same time because they're both approaching the same problem at two very different but two very effective ways. So like I love both the systems a lot.
Also, I'm very happy you two rammed on like that because I was able to go to the bathroom and come back with no issue.
Hey, I have another. Like, granted, I don't mean to like just jabber on and steal like the focus.
Motherfucker, that's what this entire stream is.
When it comes to getting into new TRPGs, I have found that there's... Now, I'm painting with broad strokes, but there's relatively two camps of thought over what kind of tabletop you're going to like. There's either a very specific particular game whose rules are built around the specificity of what's being done, or there's what Suede and Cypher does, which is, hey, we can run anything, it's just not going to be catering to the genre or thing. And I have found I really like the latter a lot more than the former.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, where you guys stand on that too, because there's no wrong answer. I'm just very curious, like, if one of us actually does really like, oh, Call of Cthulhu is great because it primarily focused this, and I'm like, cool, I don't care.
I think it's a subjective observation because
100%.
yeah, there are people who absolutely love Call of Cthulhu and that's all they play, but that's what they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, someone like me, I really like combat and sort of big damn hero stories where I get to be the badass. So stuff like Lancer and Suede really appeal to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm very much in that same ballpark where it's like I like to play like at worst I like to play mundane people that become heroic or become legend. But like a lot of it, I'm not the biggest fan of a game being purely just, oh, you're just doing this. And even
Obviously
though like
not.
yeah, like even though like Cypher does have I think really good genre books that let you play a more mundane character in a horror setting, you just have to again actually engage with the system on good faith, internet. But I also will agree that like Cypher's not gonna replace your love of Call of Cthulhu or the Dead Reich. Like those games are very specified for a reason.
Yeah.
I also think, and this might be a little blasphemous, the more specified a game is, the more board gamey I kind of feel like it becomes.
To an extent, if it's done a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can agree with that.
Honestly, I have always been like a 60-40 split based on your original statement. I love a system that is very specified onto something because then it isn't like I said, I would probably like Suede more than Cypher because I don't like writing a story. I like experiencing a story, essentially. So
Right.
hence why I'm usually more in the camp of I like stuff that is more focused and compiled in a way, because then it is more I get done learning how this works. I do the creation stuff, and now I'm just enjoying the story with, or the experience of the game alongside my goofy dumb friends, or like
Mhm.
I'm hoping to do, wink wink nudge nudge, to stream here. Hopefully share that fun and uh that joy I can get from it to a wider audience.
Mm-hmm. I think that also, like, I think that's a great comparison too, because like Devious, you earlier mentioned that because your origins are in wargaming, you're able to like take a crunchy system and just like happily create like a combat encounter that like will fuck with people. Meanwhile, with me, mind you, like I'm getting much better at it with Pathfinder because I've been playing it enough, and it's like, okay, this is making more sense. And CR actually works in Pathfinder. Stares into the abyss.
Fucker.
But
That
the
spider
thing that I
had
have,
other fucking words. CR fucking works my ass. I'm knocked out in almost 2 turns. God damn it.
yeah. The thing that I've grown to enjoy with Pathfinder is like it takes a little bit of trial and error, but like I'm actively starting to get used to like how to make CR and certain monsters actually function for a certain amount of time. But if I might share an anecdote of like what recently happened in one of my Cypher games that I'm running.
Hmm.
I had a level 6 creature, which is basically anything you try to do to this thing or defend against this thing, you have to beat an 18 on a d20, like flat out.
Damn.
I
Which,
had
knowing
Go ahead.
Pathfinder, is not horrifically ridiculous.
No, like comparatively to like Pathfinder 1, it's not ridiculous, especially if you're going off the idea of like getting bonuses and shit.
In Lancer, that would be a bitch. Like, that would
Oh,
be
yeah,
fucking
that would be
awful.
unreasonable.
The thing to keep in mind with Cypher, and also thank you everyone, I get to talk about Cypher now.
You're welcome.
The thing about Cypher is that instead of getting bonuses, the whole point of the game is to lower the difficulty. So, and this is why Cypher is such a fucking enigma, because like I just got done saying, oh, but Cypher's about the narrative. Meanwhile, I'm about to literally explain the metagame and how the metagame is like so in your face, it's trying to kiss you.
Well, I mean, I think that's the strength of Cypher. It uses the meta to craft the narrative.
And
It's a
I love it.
It's a synergy, not like a parasitic relationship.
Exactly. It's that's a whole other conversation, but thank you. That's a beautiful way of phrasing it.
I don't know where that came from. That was remarkably elegant for me.
That was
like,
really no, dude. Like, pat
Devious-
yourself on the back.
Devious, did you get possessed by, like, Edgar Allan
No.
Poe or something? You
I-
good,
I
man?
We're
You
good.
good?
I've been writing a lot lately. I've been writing a lot, so it's just my inner author coming out.
Dude, I'm gonna try to like get a little bit of that fairy dust onto me. I need that. I need that for what I got planned for. But like with the side, so going to this, like it's a level 6 creature. The team has to consistently roll at the start above an 18. So what happens is I tell the players from the jump, okay, so you guys have like kind of gotten a grasp of the system. I need you guys to keep in mind you have to consistently get an 18 against this boss. They all cringe. Okay, you already know how to assist each other. You already know how to fuck with the story. You already know how to make this 18 not an 18. It's a mini boss. Go forth. And I loved seeing my players like basically say, okay, GM, can I do this so that everyone has the ability to hit this thing easier? And I go, yes, you can, because blah, 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 and all these other things. They do it. Now the level 6 is a level 5. They have to beat a 15. Next character goes up. I'm going to take a swing. They get a natural 20. They say, I'm going to do normal damage. But now I'm also going to say, because I got a nat 20, I chop its goddamn legs off. And I'm like, okay, for the rest of the round, now everyone just has to beat a 12. And that's how the game works. It just starts snowballing where everyone does something. Even if you're not being the combat, if you want to play a support and you can say, GM, I think I want this to happen in the story. I say, cool, that sounds like magic shit. Roll your magic shit skill. You got a nat 19? What else happens? And then
I'm gonna
going.
sit there and cast a spell where ethereal chains grab both its arms and its legs, and I say it's stunned for a round.
Hey,
Yup.
you said that? I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, I got a nat 19. I sit there and castigate."
So,
I sit there and I
funny you should
explode.
funny you should say that, actually.
Hmm.
Do you like? Have you had a fetish about playing a golem that self-destructed as like their entire gimmick?
Oh,
It's
so
in
Kobold.
Cypher. Yes, actually.
That's literally Manticore.
That's literally Manticore and Kobold. That's actually hilarious.
And then the thing that became really fun is that they're all doing really, really great. They're kicking this thing's ass, and it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Then it becomes the monster's turn. The monster has multi-attack, the ability to pop up anywhere it wants, and it heals itself whenever it like disappears for a few minutes. Also, the only thing the players were making lower on the difficulty was to hit, not to, not get hit. Proceeds to take everyone down to half health because fuck you.
Yep.
And then the next round, everyone said, is anyone dead? No. Okay, let's do it again.
Correction, not yet.
Not yet. And this is where I keep saying, like, Cypher is so fun when you get it. Because if, like, kind of what you said earlier, Devious, and what I agree with you with, I love playing the heroic power fantasy kind of character. But I also want a game to kind of kick me in the teeth or give me the illusion I'm getting kicked in the teeth. I don't like 5E's save or suck. And I even argue that as much as I love Pathfinder, I kind of wish there was a more elegant way of doing hero points in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
It's way better than what D&D does. But like I literally stole another mechanic from another game to make hero points more fun, which still says a lot about how solid Pathfinder is.
So,
But
describe for me real quick what hero points are, because I'm a little lost on that.
Oh, so the simplest thing, it's inspiration, but rules is written, everyone gets a free hero point at the beginning of every session.
Mm.
Okay, what does a hero point do is what I mean.
Inspiration from D&D.
Yeah.
Ergo, you can
Okay.
re-roll bad D20s.
Yeah.
So, I think the concept of metacurrency by itself is kind of a trap for a lot of games. The only reason I say that is because I've seen games like Suede. I know I keep bringing it up, but you keep bringing up Cypher, so let me
No,
cook.
it's completely fair.
And
we know our vices.
And I'm
He's like,
gonna keep bringing
let me
up
cook. We're in the
Lancer.
same kitchen. We're in the same kitchen. You're making Indian food. I'm making Cajun. But let me cook. Let me cook.
And I'm making Jewish.
I
Jewish
don't
is a
like the
food?
way you said that.
I'm just gonna ignore that for right now.
If you ever had
Terrible jokes just popped into my head. I'm sorry.
If you ever had the Hanukkah bread, oh my god, that shit's good. It goes super well with honey.
I think I have once actually. Wait, hold on. Hanukkah bread?
I can't remember its exact name, and I don't want to say it just in case I fuck up the Hebrew of it. But it's like a.
Is it? Hold on. Is it babka?
Oh, yeah, babka. Thank you.
Fucking do it! I love babka. Are you kidding? I
Babka
made
is-
babka.
Babka is fucking delicious.
Okay, complete divergent there. But back to what I was trying to say. Metacurrency. One of the reasons I like Suede so much is because the bennies, which are essentially like hero points or inspiration, are so ingrained into the gameplay.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
They're actually the system is built for it, which it makes it so much better in my opinion. Like it actually feels good.
Oh! Devious, I know a great way I can pitch Cypher to you then. And
Fuck.
why I say Cypher and Suede are cut from the same cloth, but like made two different outfits. So
Okay,
what you just
all right.
said about metacurrency being built into the actual game. In Cypher, the two big metacurrencies are your stat pools and the experience you gain. Stat pools allow you to do pretty much all the stuff that you want to do. Like, they are both your health and your ability to say maximum effort a la Deadpool and do stupid shit, right?
Yep.
Maximum
thing is-
effort pops your knee out of the socket trying to kick Juggernaut. Ah!
Man, that's such a good representation of Cypher sometimes, man. Here's the thing about the experience points, and this is where I feel like a lot of people trip up because, again, y'all are not carefully reading the books. Internet, Reddit. Experience points are supposed to be given out like candy because you are going to use so much of it to not die. The three
Right.
ways, besides leveling up, the 3 ways to use experience are 1 point of experience lets you add in a player intrusion where you tell the GM, fuck you, this is the story now, and I just have to accept it. The other thing is you can spend as many experience points as you want to re-roll a bad D20. It's a D20. We should all know how swingy those fucks are. But the game takes in line why, like, that's what you're gonna probably use your XP for if you've been stockpiling it, which is why the book almost wants to scream at the GM, keep giving your players XP. For the love of God, keep giving them XP.
That is actually one of the things I love about Suede in particular, since we're bouncing back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
Bennies have a hard-written system for how they come into the player's hands. So, like, if you draw a Joker during initiative, because Suede uses a deck of cards for initiative, which is fucking cool, by the way. Definitely not biased because I have a shitload of novelty decks of cards that I really like to use, but so you get a Benny when an ally pulls a Joker for initiative. I think you also get one if you roll a critical fail, and then you can also be awarded them by the GM for, cool stuff during roleplay or awesome strategies, just the general stuff that you usually get inspiration for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really a toss-up as to if you get enough of the meta currency. It's more of like if you're lucky enough to get it. But the rules are hard-coded into the game, which I think alleviates a lot of that. Like you were saying, GM should be giving away experience like candy. That's not a problem in Suede because it happens as per rules is written.
Right, but that's where jumping back over to Cypher, that's again where like Cypher's entire thing is that giving the XP as candy is also baked into the rules. Like, essentially, the way that the GM is supposed to reward XP to the players is, one, there's like not a hard rule, but there's like a soft rule in the book saying, like, give your players 1 to 2 experience points every time they make progress in the story. Like, they move on to the next scene, or they discover a really important item. The book is very clear that you really shouldn't be giving experience points during combat, because combat is where you're going to spend the experience points if, like, shit's going awry. So you guys went into a scene, but you didn't manage to break the character out of the jail. 1 experience point for everyone. The next scene, you managed to steal the princess's documents and discover who the real assassin is. Everyone gets 2 points of experience. The other thing that is hard-coded into the game is the GM intrusions, which is another thing people get wrong, even though the book tells them. GM intrusions are essentially...
The intrusions in general are just really cool.
They're so fucking good, and it's one of my favorite aspects of the game. But with the GM intrusion, you're not supposed to tell the player, fuck you, you fail. It's supposed to be yes and. It's like the simplest way I describe it. So, Cade unlocks the door without triggering any alarms. Yes.
I don't know how the fuck I did that, guys.
Yeah, right. And then yes and. You get yes and GM intrusion. As you open the door, you realize that there are several guards that are asleep in the room, and it reminds you of something like being in a lion's den as you realize
Shit!
This is a big festival. This is a big party. Not all of the guards are on duty, and they have to be up early the next day to handle all the people with hangovers.
Oh, oh
You've,
no.
you've unlocked the door. Here's your next challenge. Cade, you get 1 point of experience for yourself, and you can give 1 point of experience to someone in your group, which I didn't fully appreciate why that is the case until I fucking figured it out. The other thing that is so cool about Cypher, wow, my brain stopped working. Devious, if you're a tier 2 or tier 3 character, but Miles is only a tier 1 character, you can do that and still both of you be integral to the team. And the reason why is not just because, maybe like Cade has been spending all their experience points on like succeeding the roles.
I don't like Basil getting GM intrusions.
Yeah, you don't like you say fuck you in your GM intrusion, which helps the entire team, or you're always succeeding on your roles. Sure, Devious has more tools and more shit to play with, like mechanically for combat, but the other thing is, you could also have been spending that experience on different narrative hooks, like having a cavalcade of a thieves guild that just works for you. You don't have to pay them. You don't have to keep up with that. They just work for you. So again, Cade, you might only be a tier 1 character, but you have the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood under your wing. Meanwhile,
don't talk to me or my sons ever again.
Meanwhile, Devious might not be the Assassin's Creed leader, but he is still Ezio Auditore, bitch.
That is so on point for how we play.
I was about to say, that is actually extremely fair. I have the power of friendship at my side, and then all of a sudden the team music slowly starts playing. Also, I don't have to fight you because I have that guy as Devious walks forward, loading the double barrel.
Man, I can imagine that conversation. It's like, I have a lot of friends that would fuck you up. I only need the one. Cut to me cocking a shotgun.
I like, what do you have? I have an army. Oh, and a Hulk. But like, what's so fun about that is like, and like, don't get me wrong, like it again, Cypher is so. I'm not trying to like make it be like, guys, you can't hate it. It's just different. It's like, no, I fully get why people don't fuck with it because it is so different. But unlike Fate, it does different correctly. Whereas, like as I described, as long as you are having fun, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. And the meta currency builds it in. I fully didn't like, I did not fucking like vibe with the idea of one player being a tier 6 character, the other being a tier 3, until I'm like, wait a minute. The tier 6 character has like eaten dog shit several times in this campaign. I don't think the tier 3 character has failed a roll once, looks at the amount of experience one has spent over the other. And it's just like, the whole game is so focused on consequence of your actions, both positive and negative, and it works so goddamn well, which is again why the book is so insistent that the GM not only reward through GM intrusions, not only reward through the actual narrative going through, not only reward experience through individual character arcs, but just literally give players the ability to do shit. Let them say they want to do something, and if they can justify, I have a skill in magic.
Basil, I'm using my XP for a player intrusion.
Yeah, what do you got? Pitch it.
So, all of you guys saying this made me realize something about Lancer that I actually fucking adore. And it's probably the reason why I'm like, oh, I could finally DM now. Because you're saying all that, right? But my stupid small brain, while loves being the player, working as the GM and remembering all this stuff sounded like so much. It was very overwhelming. But the amazing thing about Lancer is that it's the fact that they don't do that, but because they give the players everything they already need. So now it's about, how are you going to use the tools at your hand, at your disposal, to solve the problem you're currently being set to deal with. And
that's what Cypher and Suede both do as well.
I kind of love that because it doesn't have any meta currency. It doesn't have the XP gain
Oh,
stuff.
I follow you now. Yeah.
Like, you don't have any of those in Lancer, but that's also kind of the point. Because
Yeah, like
if
it's
you
built for that.
Yeah, if you did have those, then honestly it would be way fucking harder to balance Lancer combat. But without those, it's like, oh, your mechs are already the meta. The meta is you and your ability to make your character. And
I think the thing that sorry, go ahead.
And it's making me very excited to run it and DM it because I'm super excited to be super proud of how you guys deal with what's coming your way, let me say.
I think the thing that makes Lancer so perfect for non-meta currency is because like Lancer doesn't have to suffer from a save or suck system, so it doesn't have to have a meta currency. It's literally like not a worry. Like, sure, you might roll dog shit one turn, but like there's literally built-in mechanics to whatever your mech does to where like as long as you're like, for lack of a better phrase, as long as you're doing your Final Fantasy 14 rotation, you're going to be fine as long as you're paying attention. Yeah, you might like suffer some bad rolls, but the thing that's going to kill you in Lancer is not a bad roll, not entirely, but it's going to be bad positioning, bad use of your abilities, bad recognition of map awareness.
Cough, cough, know your damn character sheet.
Read your fucking tooltips.
Whereas with Cypher, it's less. There is combat in Cypher. Some people would even say there's too much. I think they're dumb. But the whole point of Cypher is less about. It's actually very similar to Fabula Ultima. It's like, know what your character can and can't do, and then say, I'm going to bend the rules a little bit because I have cheat codes. And then Suede is more focused on, hey, know your character, know your cool niche, and now that niche can be used for goddamn near anything you want to do. So, like, one system needs you to use meta currency because that's the point. One system just has a little bit of meta currency because that's the point. One system has no meta currency because that's the
fucking point.
Man, it's almost like if you design your system from the ground up to act in the way that it should, it actually works.
And it might not work for everyone, but like there's a difference between, oh, this doesn't work versus, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Oh, like without getting too much into it, like immediately I will tell you right now, I don't think I'm ever going to try GURPS or Cortex Prime.
I've heard of
those
GURPS,
are not
I have not heard of
games.
Cortex Prime.
I've heard of both. I would like to try both, but again, that's more of a difference in style than anything.
Agreed. Like in the style that they're going for is like, oh, I fully understand what these two things are. I don't want this. I do not want your fish a la mode. I want my spaghetti.
And funnily enough, that does bring us back to that weird tribalism thing of but a new point of it in that I hate seeing people that are like, God, I fucking hate this in this goddamn game, dude. Like, why is this a thing? And then you're like, oh, well, if you don't want to deal with that, here's this other system that is similar, but it doesn't have, like, no, but this is the game I want to play, but I just can't deal with this. And you're like, I just, dude.
The amount of times I've heard people complain about not liking the action economy in D&D, and then I introduce them to something like Suede that has a much more forgiving action economy.
Or it's like, hey, if you don't like that...
That's why I really like Suede. It's why I like it so much.
Or if you don't like that at all, it's like, oh, hey, there's also Lancer, which has the, I think they call it the popcorn system, which I honestly,
the initiative.
I fucking love that system, by the way. where it's like all the players talk, strategize, and then okay, this person's going now. Okay,
The fact that
person
you
went.
don't have to
Enemy.
actually keep up with initiative is amazing. You just
Oh.
decide like, oh, this person already went, somebody else has to go, and then it goes to the enemies and so on. Which is fucking amazing on the DM side, because all I have to do is be like, okay, who's gonna go first? And because most people understand their character sheet and what their mechs do, it's usually not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have an Amber Phantom in your group. Always listen when the Amber Phantom says they want to go at a certain time.
Or you have a taxi service.
The what's so funny, I wanted to make this joke before. It's like the way that you were describing it, Miles, I was going to be like, are we talking about tabletops or are we just talking about MMO players?
I mean, it
it
qualifies for both.
It super fucking does.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but I loved it so much that when you said, "Are we talking about MMO players?" Law played the dicks soundbite.
Nice.
But no, like at some point, I wouldn't even call like our difference in taste like tribalism as much. I do think it goes more into like the realm of just subjective taste.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
So like
I mean,
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, separating tribalism from a legitimate difference in taste is something that a lot of people struggle with.
It's very hard and very also weird because people are oddly aggressive about it. Like you can literally just tell someone, like how with Basil, I was like, hey dude, I don't really think I want to try Cypher because I don't really jive with the idea of being the writer in the story when I'm the player. That just feels weird to me, but I'm willing to try it to see if that's the case, right? Or when when Devious was like, hey, Rin is running this Warhammer thing with Suede, and I'm like, what the fuck is a Suede? And then
oh yeah.
And then we played it, and I'm like, what in the fuck? I was allowed to be a Grey Knight just cuz? And he's like, yep.
Ooh, Suede's a great
okay, if I can touch on that, by the way, I keep saying that Suede can do anything. I mean that very literally. So I have played in 3 Suede campaigns at this point. One of them was Warhammer 40k, another one was Star Wars, and the last one was... Okay, the last one actually wasn't a campaign. The last one was just me fucking around solo, basically remaking Kenshi.
Ooh.
Yeah. It took all of those adjustments with no difficulty whatsoever.
The one caveat I would throw in, and again, this is why I keep like bringing Suede and Cypher up, because I truly feel like, without meaning to, they're very like similar in certain aspects. Yeah. I do make the argument that Suede also suffers the same problem with Cypher of, if you're trying to play something more mundane, both suffer, and I would honestly argue that Suede suffers the hardest out of the two.
It's honestly funny how the mundane doesn't blend well, unless you use the Savage World expansion. That kind of works better with it. But
I'm gonna agree with the caveat of yes, but you can still work the system to play more mundane. It's just not gonna have as many systems to work with it as something more built for mundane.
Right, and that's where I would that's where I feel the same with Cypher, and also agree with, like, if you're already in love with how the dice are functioning, with how the mechanics of the game is, it really, I personally would prefer a rules genre-less system that I just have to tweak just a tiny bit to make it do what I want, like Suede and Cypher, versus GURPS or Cortex, which is basically just building a system from scratch, which, fuck, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Or having to pick something that can only do the one thing it does really well, period. Like, I'm willing to try out the latter because it sounds fun, but miss me with that Lego brick build your own game design shit. I bought the book to play a game, not build Legos. Like, if that's your thing, that's fine. I'm not shitting on it, but I don't want it. Give me the genreless rule set that on its own on paper is really fun, and then let me slap whatever like skirt and tutu I want on it.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Because even then, like, as much as like there's been a lot of good stuff for Cypher, my biggest thing that I think out of the two of you, Cade, you would surprisingly gel with Cypher. I don't think it would like replace any of your favorite games, but I think if I got you into a game, you would jive with it a lot more than you think. Devious, I would put money down that after a good session or two, you would be down to play it if asked. But if you're never asked again, you wouldn't fuck with the system.
I think there's a lot of systems like that for me, but I've also explored a shitload more systems than most people ever get to. And I'm not flexing at that point. I made it a point to actually explore. So
And I haven't hit that point for me yet. I'm slowly getting there.
I legitimately have 3 different piles of TTRPGs. A lot of them are little booklets that I printed out myself. And oh yeah, another one came out that's it's kind of it is D&D-esque more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also it's made by somebody that I knew, so I'm a little biased towards it. But it's got a lot of really good flavor, and my name is in the my name is in the credits for it because I backed it so much.
Hey, do you Kate, do you smell some shill? I smell a lot of shill all the
Oh
time.
no, I'm not even gonna say the name of the system.
Oh, coward!
I just brought it up.
Coward!
Absolute coward!
God damn!
How dare you?
I'm going back to my timeout corner. Fuck y'all.
No, get back here! What's the system?
Come here! You need to tell us the system!
I know I said I liked being edged, but not this much.
Gonna edge you until next year, boy.
No.
Okay, so the system is called Distal, and honestly, I kind of mind blanked a little bit. I think the reason I brought it up was because it is so very specific. It's one of those systems. It's a system built for a world rather than a world built around or built for people to explore. If that makes sense. I just fucked that all the way up. Not gonna lie, I've been fighting a boss in Pow World this entire time, so I'm a little scattered. So just one of y'all take over if you don't mind. If I remember my point, I'll figure it out.
Well then,
No worries.
I'm gonna say this. Devious, how the fuck did the Baylor shrink down to size half with Hecatoncheires?
Because it was never a size 2 in the first place. That's just what it presented.
I call bullshit.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
I'm mad because I know you're gonna take Hecatoncheires, you and your Nexus that was already gonna be a part of your mech, but then out of nowhere, I'm gonna have to deal with the size half running around my map.
If I might, because I have to get going to actually like be a husband and help around the house, but if I might like do a little thought experiment.
Could I interrupt this with a very specific point?
Yeah.
I wanted to mention the Forged in the Dark stuff because
oh yes, we've been yes.
Yeah, you mentioned edging. I think now's the time to cash in on that. So
and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why the rule of 3 works in comedy.
I'm throwing that in quotes.
All right, so Forged in the Dark are systems based around Blades in the Dark, or the system for it. There is no form of combat in this system. It's all narrative. Everything is done with clocks, which is a really weird adjustment, but in a strange way, it kind of works. That being said, it's not really that the system that I focus too heavily on. It's the it's the specific games that have been kind of tailored to these or not the games, but these settings that the system has been tailored to. So Blades in the Dark is what if Dishonored, but you were just some random thief in Dunwald or Dustfall, whatever. One of them's called Dunwald, one of them's called Dustfall. I don't remember what they are.
Oh my god, there's a Weird West version.
Yeah, there's a Weird West version. There's also there's definitely not Star Wars, which is Scum and Villainy. There's Band of Blades, which is kind of the not really expansion that you were talking about. It's
Oh my god, there's
There-
2 Weird West ones.
I'm not surprised. There's a lot of weirdness going on in that one, but it has like dedicated bosses and shit and rules for them that it sets up, and it's very, very specific. And then there's Wild Sea, which I cannot describe how much I adore Wild Sea. Dude.
With all that
Uh,
being said, I'm probably gonna take this time to end stream because one, that's probably a good
Fair
time to
enough.
end stream on, and also since Baz needs to go,
Fair point.
we have
I will save my thought experiment for another day. I will get you all to try Cypher.
Apologies for the interruption, but Baz, I got to leave you with the description of Wild Sea.
Okay.
Post-apocalyptic,
Okay.
verdant explosion. There are mile-high trees. No one's ever been below the first 100 meters. You travel on ships with chainsaw engines.
I'm Torbeck is interested.
Yeah. Also, the book is gorgeous, but that's different. Anyway.
thank you all so much for hanging out, watching all that stuff. Holy shit. Have a good day, have a good night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I am then going to send you all to somebody. I fucking know it. I'm not saying it, but they just said something that I'm just like trying not to say anything. Have a good night, day, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm gonna find somebody to raid. Give me 1 second.